to Jean, and she will take care of it. So I imagine she's been talking to people, knowing that her renter, she likes me a lot, was very displeased about how it was happening. Now, I hope all of you will take a look at some of this place where it could be improved. And go back, some of these houses are just really pretty, but you couldn't tell. Coven, terrible places that they can't even live in. So, and there was this one house, it's one about half a block from me, and it was a blue house, and it was a devil of a place. But some smart someone got hold of that place and has turned it into a wonderful place. And up the street from that, people are out taking the time to change the way their house looks. It doesn't take a whole lot to do something nice in Silsbee. I love Silsbee, and my house looks pretty good. I have flowers everywhere, and I'm going to continue to do that, but I can't. I'm walking up the 6th Street, I shake my head, so sad. Makes my heart just very, very happy. But 10 years ago, my husband would have gotten hold of our mower, and we would have been up there mowing. And that's all there was to it. Of course, he's not with me anymore. So I can't do anything like that. But I wish someone would take the time to take Silsbee and help Silsbee a little bit. I'd be glad to buy the paint for the man across the street, but I can't paint, so somebody else has to do that. And thank you for this time. I appreciate everything you do, and I hope someone will do something about these things that I've spoken of. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for coming. Tirso?
Yes, sir.
Martinez? Okay.
Yes, good afternoon. I'll be very brief. Kind of an interesting follow-up. My name is Tirso Martinez. I'm with a company called Waste Pro. Actually, my colleague Michelle's here as well. We saw that you all are entertaining the idea of putting an RFP for your trash service. And we just wanted to introduce ourselves, let you know that we'd be very interested in taking a look and helping the city with its waste services. Waste Pro is the largest independently owned garbage company in the United States. We're family owned and operated. No stock market, no private equity, nothing of the sort. We're a full service company, residential, commercial, industrial. We run landfills, transfer stations, recycle centers, pretty much anything one of the big companies offers, just with a more personalized feel. So just wanted to introduce ourselves and let you know that we are interested in doing business with the city of Silsbee.
You said the name of that company was?
Sir?
Waste Pro.
Waste Pro.
You got a call.
I certainly do. I left one there, but I have more if you need them.
Could you also give us your address?
Yes, sir. We have a property right down on Bo Alford we just bought. We're putting a hauling company in there. 8100 Bo Alford in Beaumont. And then we also currently, while we're getting that set up, we're running out of our office in Lake Charles. And then we have an office also in Houston on Hollister Street.
Okay, well, we have a policy here that if somebody speaks, they have to give us.
Oh, I apologize, sir. I didn't realize that.
I didn't ask you, and I didn't
No,
ask.
my apologies on that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I just want to continue that policy.
Could you spell that street?
There's no,
The one in Beaumont, B.O. Alfred, A-L-F-R-E-D.
It's kind of a new street.
Yes.
okay.
That's all I have unless somebody else had. Thank you.
Well,
Appreciate
we can't answer questions, ask questions or answer.
Yes, sir. Of course.
In this phase until we get it as an agenda item.
Absolutely. And I appreciate your time. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Michelle Stacy, would you give us your address and
Sure, certainly.
everything when you come up?
I apologize, I didn't realize I wasn't able to speak on a specific agenda item, but I will introduce myself as Michelle Stacy with Waste Pro. I'm a Beaumont resident, my home address is, if you need that, would you like that?
Solomon, do we need that?
Business address is fine.
Okay, so I'm Beaumont, and pretty much second to everything that Teresa said, but I owned and operated a waste business out of Beaumont for approximately 10 years, and I, after a lot of experience, chose to depart that and join Waste Pro. So just basically an introduction to the company. We hope to have an opportunity to either bid or share more information about what we can offer the city of Silsbee sometime before you make a decision.
We appreciate your interest.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, discussion and possible action on approving the expenditures for the month of April 2026.
Yeah, on page 1, under general government, we have 8913, that is for quarterly insurance. Under police department, you have 11,375.89, again, that's for TML workers' comp. Under general government, for Texas materials, you had 5,552.02, which was for asphalt. Insurance again for 6,241. Then on page 3, under Parks and Rec, you purchased a mower for $2,260, and it was a budgeted line item. Under administrative and engineering, you had 8,913, which was quarterly insurance again. And on page 4, you had TML insurance again for $2,721.78, which is a quarterly payment. And that includes errors and omission, it includes auto, property, everything. Then you had Badger meter where they read the meters for $3,500.37. And at the bottom of page 4, you had the residential garbage of $30,369.91. And on page 5, you had the garbage for $41,610.26. And those are your bigger ticket items. The rest of them is just regular AP.
On page 3.
Page
Oh.
3, page 4.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And what'd you ask them?
They just got 4 of them in a row.
What are you asking me about?
What is that?
What is what?
On page 4, right at the top.
That's that fuel, and they come out and check.
Well, it would be,
generator.
on page 3, the topic, it says Suncoast Resource,
Oh, okay.
and that's where they was gonna
They go
fill,
out there and check. They
yeah,
check
they
them
were gonna
all,
fill
check
all
the
those
fuel and
generators up.
everything.
Okay, okay. I didn't
Well,
know.
because it's up there by itself, the
Right,
topic
right.
from the prior page.
Right, okay.
Quick, I have a quick question on page 3,
Page 3,
yeah, under county collection wastewater sewer fund, $2,072 for 8 cases of water bills. Is that,
where do you see that?
8 cases of water bills, $2,072.
2072, do you see that?
About 3/4 of the way down.
8.
Almost all the way down, under,
Well, that's our printer, and you buy them by the case. Yeah, 'cause see, we bill 4 times a month, we bill ourselves.
okay, so how, is this, it's $2,072 a month? Is that a monthly cost? How long does 8 cases of water bills last?
Oh, I'd have to ask the building clerk, I don't know. But I know she bills 4 times a month. We bill zone 1, 2, 3, 4, which zone 4 is part of District C and D, which is a big a big zone.
Sure, you could get info about how many, how much 8 cases last typically?
Okay, so you want me to find out how long?
How long, how long that $2,072 lasts? Is that a monthly charge? Is that, are you doing that?
No, it's not monthly. I'm not for sure how often, how many times a year, but it's more than monthly.
Sure, okay, I'd like to
Okay,
know.
I'll look it up.
So, again, I know we talked about this in the past, but I feel like it's worth putting on the agenda to discuss going billless, or, wireless for the bills. 2026, I know that, I mean, how much, I know a lot of people still like to get their bill in paper, we'll still have that as an option. I think if you can make an option of going green, we'll probably save a little bit of money in that aspect.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, we have a motion.
a second.
You got a second, okay, is there any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. Discussion and possible action on approving the minutes of March 16, 2026 meeting. And, city manager, do you have anything to say about that?
For the minutes? No, sir, they're just in the packet for y'all to approve.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve last month's minutes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. City manager's report. City manager's report, the quarterly investment report.
Okay, if you see the reports in your packet, the water and sewer fund made $202,749.92 worth of interest. The general fund made the general fund, that looks like a typo. I mean, you didn't make $1,411,600. So, you'll have to skip that one. Okay, I'll have to look and see where that answer came from. Water meter energy conversation project, you made $567.79. The water and sewer reserve, you made $954.83. The general fund reserve, you made $6,810.21. And the fire relief and retirement, you made $857.74. But that general fund is incorrect. I mean, you only have $1,000,006, so there's no way you made $1,000,004 in interest. And there's just a typo in that somewhere.
Can you let us know what that is and get back to us at some point this week?
Sir?
Can you let us know what that is and get back to us some point this week? At some point this week? Some point this week, can you get back to us?
Yes, sir.
with
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir. I'll look it up in the morning and I'll know the answer.
Thank you.
All right. This doesn't require any action.
No, sir.
Okay. Public Works Director's report.
How are y'all this evening? Number one, update on North Plant Digester. We approved the plans last week. And I think OJ will send out for bids in about 2 weeks. The Hardin County roadside ditches and channel improvement starts May the 4th. It has a completion date of 300, they gave them 300 days to complete that project.
Do we have a
maps on what area they joined.
Yeah, I got it, but it's so big, I can't print it, so I'm gonna be looking, supposed to be getting me one, so.
Okay.
But it's too big on the file to print.
Let me know when you get started.
I'll get you one.
No, I don't need one, I just come look for what you got.
Okay. Miss Jan Plunk, she called me again about the corner of, Lee Miller and Roosevelt. Wonder what kind of barriers she can put up. I found some small barriers, plastic barriers they use in, like, go-kart racing and stuff, some kind of barrier to put around the edge of the roadway. But she asked me to come to y'all, and do y'all have any ideas or any questions about what to do, or?
Little reflector post would do the same thing, would
Well, she wanna put a concrete curve around it, but y'all said, y'all didn't want that to do.
reflectors.
Yeah,
The only thing got me is, I rode out there and took a look at it, the way that road's made.
yeah, it slopes down to
It
it.
slopes down this way and it slopes down the other way, and it's meeting in the middle, so where you going?
Yeah,
So we found a solution for that, then I'll be looking at it, but I don't know. I mean,
I'll research it some more.
So my question is there any right of way between where the asphalt stops and where her lands? In other words, is the erosion happening on her property, on the city right of way?
They're cut through her yard. They're cutting the corner too close. And they bounce across her
The more it
driveway.
wears out, the more in her yard they go.
But my question is still the same. How far is it from where the asphalt stops and her property line begins? In inches and feet?
Go back, because it's been happening many years, and it's eroded into her yard. with asphalt.
What I'm getting at, guys, is it really these people driving in her yard, or are these people driving on the city's right of way that she does maintain very well? I mean, I'm not saying she's not keeping it up, but are we really getting on her property? Because when you look at that, with that elevation change, it's pretty much about this far between the blacktop and where the elevation changes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm asking you, where's the right of way stop?
I'll double check and make sure. She's saying that it's eroded into her property line, is what she's telling
And
me.
and maybe it is, maybe that's one of those old school deals, there's not any buffer there.
Yes.
I'm just asking, is there a buffer, and then it matters, you know, whether it's our problem or her problem.
Yeah. But I'll research it some more, but I just come to y'all because she asked me to bring it to y'all, so we're still looking into it right now. You have in your packet TCQ lead and copper rule. Everybody in the state of Texas got this. This is really because of Flint, Michigan. All the lead that was in Flint, Michigan at the time, last year, a couple years ago, in the water line. We have to identify the entrance and the exit of every water meter in the city of Silsbee. We have to dig it up, take a picture of it. Right now, they're breaking it down to 10%. First off, it was 50%, now they're saying it's 10%. So it'll be 360 meters that we want to dig the front of the meter up and the back of the meter up, take a picture of it, log it on GPS, and everything's sent to the state of Texas. So if you get a complaint this summer, somebody digging up my yard, that's what it is. We're gonna put it on Facebook or everywhere else and communicate with all the citizens. What got me worried is, okay, we did find a lead pipe in one of these older homes. They haven't said who's gonna replace that lead pipe from the meter to that house yet.
You
They may
talking
be able
about
to
this
see it.
letter right here, the violation letter?
Sorry?
Is that what you're talking about, the lead pipe, lead and copper rule?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Up under the new construction, going in, will we be able to set something up to make sure we taking a picture of all this going
Yeah,
in
most
on
of it,
new
yeah.
construction?
All the new construction we know, you're looking at downtown, the old Kirby houses out there on Seaman and stuff, probably Woodley houses, guys, East Tex houses at the time.
50 years old.
I mean, I'm okay with that, I just don't,
I understand what you're saying, yes.
that's the reason why I feel like we got the
Yeah.
tech guy on board,
Yeah,
so we can get ahead of a lot of some of this
Yeah,
stuff,
stay
So-
ahead.
not keep going backwards.
Yeah.
So, are we looking for lead pipe?
Yeah, looking for lead.
How many meters do you think you've got that's got a lead pipe coming
I
off
don't
of it?
think there's any, to be honest with you.
I don't either. Galvanized, different story.
Galvanized, and the galvanized are gonna be some, but
Is galvanized, is the rule gonna say you can't have galvanized? Or are they looking for houses that had, lead solder in the copper?
Says out here, galvanized require replacing.
Galvanized require being replaced.
Yes. I think we might find some of those, we may not.
You're gonna find a bunch of those,
Yeah.
galvanized pipe.
Yeah.
You gonna find
You're gonna find galvanized, the lead part's where you had me thrown.
Yeah.
Uh,
Some of the states giving every municipality in the state of Texas didn't go into this.
Now, my next question is any of the city's distribution lines anything other than that poly pipe?
No, that's all.
So it's all,
PCP pipe, yeah.
Okay, so, but this isn't a preemptive thing. Like, we've already been fined, right? We've already been, this is a violation.
No, it's not a violation. This is just a letter they sent to everybody saying this is what's happening. This is, I'm gonna notice a violation if you don't do it.
State's
You have to
gathering
November,
information.
you have to November 27th.
state's gathering information. They're wanting you to show them how many galvanized pipes you got coming off that secondary.
It's not specifically galvanized pipe. Galvanized requiring replacement service line is an actual term of art, and that means, a galvanized service line that is currently or ever was downstream of a lead service line, or is currently downstream of a lead status unknown service line. So, it's galvanized pipes that were connected to lead.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, I ain't never seen lead water pipe. I've seen lead drainage pipes,
Yeah.
lots of them. I've never seen a lead. Now, used to have lead in the solder they used to put the copper
Yeah.
together, but if it's galvanized, it's threaded.
Yes, threaded, it should be threaded, yes.
I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be any other way, but that's about pretty much all you see. So I don't know what the real, now, the city has some type of lead line pipe or something.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that. So it's just one of those things that just come down. So, like I said, I get phone calls this summer that people digging my yard. That's what we do. Okay, update, TCEQ fine. In January of 23, we ran pneumonia levels over the average, March, and not March, yeah, January, February, March, and April. TCEQ put a recommendation fine of $74,750. We submitted a plan to TCEQ to help improve that reading. And TCEQ, they granted the repairs that we'll be doing would take care of the ammonia levels. The ammonia levels have now stayed in check. In March 11th, 2006, the TSU board voted to accept our plans, and they did away with the fine. So we were not fined.
So before you get through, Roger, it was our understanding we were gonna get an update on our I&I study and also the status of our other project for the south plant tonight.
I don't have anything on that.
I see a man in the back there, probably can tell us something, though.
Yeah, Brian Greathouse, OJA, on the I&I study, it's going really well. All we need is one more rain event, and we'll be able to cap that study off. And also, I know there were some discussions last week about the drainage report that was submitted. That has been approved by the board, and we're just waiting on the paperwork to kind of get back. But yeah, the I&I is going really well, and we just need one more rain event of around an inch, and we'll be able to wrap that up.
We got a dashboard now too. We got a dashboard we can put up all the manholes, all the sewer lines and all that. We got that last week.
So I apologize if I've missed something here, but are we in the process of designing our south plant, phase 2, or
So
all those
we haven't
plans?
really been approved to start with the design. of the
That's
south
where I'm
plant.
at, I'm going, and I may have lost a step here.
Yes, on the
Is that
south,
on us?
yeah, on the south plant, we haven't been approved, only the north plant with
Yeah,
the
just one
digester.
degree.
That's all we've been approved to continue design with.
Okay, so are we getting close to being ready for the council to address? I don't mean tonight, I'm just saying saying, are we getting close
I
to
think
that?
what's the deal, we were to determine how much sludge you can come out of it, determine how much the haul is and all that.
Again, that's what I'm saying, I'm testing my memory here, but I thought we agreed we were gonna use the little, remote control boat to do a sonar and do actual calculation.
They did do that.
That's been completed, yes, sir.
That's been done.
So we know exactly the amount of sediment that's in the
So,
plant.
are we looking for an update to our budget numbers, if sand removal is now gonna be a better quantified number rather than the guess we were doing a year or 2 years ago?
And there was a lot of sand. I think it's best if we maybe give you a workshop on kind of where that plant stands. And also on the I&I issue, if we could schedule another workshop on that to kind of tell you where it's going. And the drainage report. The drainage report did have proposed activities which we provided and were approved. A lot of them were related to some detention, but we're more than happy to come and give a full workshop on those 3 items to provide clarity.
It's supposed to rain tonight, so we're gonna do that tomorrow.
If we get over half an inch, you'll be done with
Well,
that.
and again, and I hope I'm not speaking by myself, but we've got this moving, we need to stay on it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't work
We
down.
need to stay on it.
I mean, we'll provide you the dashboard. It had some incredible results on that
So just
dashboard.
as reasonable as possible, you know, we
Yeah.
just wanna keep it moving.
Yeah, on the dashboard, you can click up your whole system and you can already start seeing where your I&I is going in. A lot of it's manhole oriented
You get
too.
the manhole, then you see the manhole, they show you the
Well,
manhole.
see, we also recognize that that's gonna be new information to us to go, now how are we gonna fix this problem that we think we're identifying or we're gonna identify?
And
So
I-
new fingers coming out of that porcupine.
Yeah, and I will add that we are, along with this analysis, there will be a cost element that you'll kind of see, and it'll help you prioritize your entire system in terms of, you know, what you want to look at first. So it'll have a prioritization of your major I&I influences, and then, you know, a cost associated with that also.
Have you found that there's any specific area that is?
Yeah, around your south, the north plant, so we've identified your 2 major basins that are contributing more than 70% of your I&I. So we were thinking about 1 basin, now we've looked at 2 basins. You got a leaky system. I think we've talked about this before, that one of the first issues next to that northern plant, the base flow was about 10 CFS in that line. Your first rain event, you had nearly 1,000 CFS of water go through that manhole.
That's priority, that's gonna be priority one.
One rain event. One rain event, you had 1,000 CFS of stormwater going through.
Lindsay and Marshall was here, the rain event, it's out of the roof.
It's out of the roof. And then, and you know, really looking at your treatment plants too, until you get a handle on the I&I, you know, that's gonna rethink your treatment plants in terms of capacity, because your treatment plants have been going through much more stress than they should needed to. So in terms of even thinking about expanding plants, I don't think they're there yet. And not until we cut that stormwater going into that plant, then I wouldn't be talking about increasing capacity of a plant at this point. Just cutting that rainwater out is probably gonna get you back in the ballpark. Now, we haven't completed that aspect of it, but I think it's gonna get you back within capacity of those plants.
So one more workshop, and you can give us a down and dirty look at overall from 20,000 foot view down to the nuts and bolts of it, right?
Now we have it down to the pipe segment
Okay.
at this point. We have it down between the manholes at this point.
But after that workshop, we should be able to put on the agenda then and determine what we wanna do as far as like phase 2 goes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Put it up on that screen.
Yeah.
It's impressive, it's impressive.
Okay,
Thanks, sir.
And you have a digitized system now too.
if we're preparing now to fix the digester in the north plant, is it, if it has that big leakage problem, is it?
The digester had to be addressed regardless, based on TCEQ. And that's why, so in the south plant, we're looking at, you know, almost a gutting of that plant, just keeping the structure. But the north plant, based on your immediate TCEQ needs, that digester had to be directed now. Now, with the performance change, it should get more efficient after we eliminate the I&I from your system. It should only become more effective from that standpoint.
And that's the last phase of the south plant. Right up will be a digester, everything else has been completed, so that's where that's last thing we got, so,
As soon as we can get a workshop, y'all let us know, we'll be here.
yeah.
For sure.
I thought the digester was in North.
No, I mean, north, I say south, there's too many plants here.
Well, I know, but I just wanted to make sure I was on the.
Yeah, and that design's complete, it's in your hands, we're working on the bid date now, on that plan.
It's fine whenever you can schedule it.
I'll get with Roger, and we'll get that as soon as possible.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right. Okay, consent agenda items. Does anybody have anything they want to separate off, or can I do all 5 of them at once? 4 of them at once?
I'll do it all over.
Okay, consent agenda items. Number 1, discussion and possible action on approving invoice number 11210 from Trailer and Associates in the amount of $4,000 for administrative services rendered for the 2023 TXCDBG Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project at Pine Shadows. Item 2, discussion and possible action on approving invoice number 11211 from Trailer and Associates in the amount of $7,792 for administrative services rendered for the City of Silsbee GLO-CDR Critical Infrastructure Generators. Item 3, discussion and possible action on approving invoice number 11244 from Trailer and Associates in the amount of $500 for administrative services rendered for the 2023 TXCDBG Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project at Pine Shadows. Item 4, discussion and possible action on approving invoice number 2026-13830 from LJA Engineering in the amount of $7,687.82 for engineering services rendered for the City of Silsbee 2025 Phase 1 and 3 sanitary sewer improvements. And just for the people out in the audience, these are projects that we've already voted to do, but now we have to vote to pay for them. Okay, do we have a motion?
Make the motion, we approve consent agenda items 1 through 4.
I'll second that motion.
Well, a motion and second, is there any discussion on it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, now we move on to the items to be considered. Item 1, discussion and possible action on approving 2022 TWDB FMA Drainage Improvement Project, Trailer and Associates /Lead.
And they are here tonight, if y'all have
Okay.
questions for them.
All
Jeff
right.
Levens is here, and there's a representative here from the
Okay.
grant as well.
Well, good evening, council. Sorry I wasn't here last month. It caught me in my kids' spring break, so we were out of town. I know one of my employees, Zach Rowe, was here along with Melinda, and so Ms. Cheryl from Trailer Associates, and obviously Jeff Levens from Lee. Good to see y'all again. And so just to somewhat regurgitate, several years ago, y'all had applied for some Water Development Board grant funds to improve drainage over Hendricks, which we know, as we're the engineer for the county, we're doing these drainage improvements for multiple areas around the county. It also includes Hendricks, so that project was taken off y'all's list. County is basically paying for that through their grant funds at 100%. So that project's basically being taken care of. What Trailer, y'all's grant administrator, had basically brought to the city and us and said, instead of seeing this grant disappear and just get sucked back into the Water Development Board, can y'all do a different drainage project, right? So essentially sub one for another. But there were some different things that we had to, some boundaries we had to stay within. One of the big ones, come to find out, was anything over $1 million in project size required a BCA, benefit cost ratio, to prove that whatever area the work's being done in is gonna, let's just say, save or bring different structures up out of the, from flooding again. If it's below $1 million, that BCA is not needed. Well, that's important for this reason. When Cheryl's group over at Trailer looked at the various flood and insurance claims through the flooding through the years, there hasn't been a lot in Silsbee, so they weren't able to really get the data needed to support anything over $1 million. So if we're over $1 million with a drainage project, it basically goes out the window. We're not gonna be able to support it. If we're under $1 million, well, we can obviously do something, and this is a 90-10 grant. So city 10%, Texas Water Government Board 90%. So we did look at several different areas. This big ditch that runs kind of through the middle of town, back behind Casa Olay, looked at just some different improvements on that, cleaning it up, getting some of the trees out of it, and that cost ran up considerably really fast to really make any kind of improvement, just because it's such a long ditch, it's such a big ditch with so much flow. We looked at some other areas after meeting with the city off of, I believe it was Payne Street. Payne, Cravens Drive, Britton Drive, Seaman Drive, some of those different areas. Again, cost easily went over $1 million in some of these areas. So the one project that we kind of settled on after we've basically analyzed each one of these areas. So we've been working behind the scenes, incurring costs with analysis, doing cost estimates, field site visits, etc. Is the project that I believe Mr. Bruce has been aware of. So I know we did meet him out in his area to just kind of show us the lay of the land. Was up off of Old 418. And so that drainage project basically would improve drainage in between 418 and 418. And then we'd also clean out that concrete line ditch on the north side of 418 before it actually goes north and really gets out of the city. One of the reasons why we stopped it there is it kind of circles back to the cost, right? We wanted to try to work downstream, upstream, because we don't want to go and improve everything upstream, improve drainage, get it more efficient, then go downstream and then hit the same problems that have always been there and somewhat bottleneck or continue to have obstructions. So basically the project that we're seeking council approval on is to go ahead and improve that area between 418 and Old 418 and get that drainage out. Now, of course, there are some other things that we've talked about, Mr. Bruce, I know with working back upstream from there, but unfortunately with this project and the funds and constraints we have with the Water Development Board, that's about as far as we're going to be able to take it with this particular grant itself.
I do have a question, Joe.
Sure.
The last guy was at this meeting, we had a discussion of those guys coming in, meeting with Roger, meeting with Bruce, and that meeting never took place before we just come back up and discuss.
So I did meet with Roger.
Me and him met the county for the county project, they're opening, they're doing construction work, we met with him.
That's not what we had discussed.
Yeah.
What we had discussed here at this meeting is that the guy that was here said that he's gonna get with Roger, get with Bruce, and make sure they got a date together before they come back up here to us, and make sure they go out to that site and take a look.
And so the problem is we don't feel the engineering crew is listening to our needs.
Right.
And we don't feel what you're proposing is gonna resolve the issue. We don't have an issue between Old 418 and 418. We don't have an issue there. Sure, you clean that ditch out, make it look better, but I can show you any number of them in that area. One between Griffin Lane and the railroad track that crosses Old 418 that needs to be cleaned as well. But you're just skipping over that, and I don't get it. But I also asked Roger the question, 90-10, $1 million, 990,000, whatever it is, city's gonna pay 100. I said, Roger, you're basically gonna add one culvert under Old 418, and then you're gonna clean an existing ditch, some 100 yards or so, okay? And that's gonna cost $1 million, it's gonna cost us 100,000. I said, Roger, can the city put in a culvert under Old 418 for $100,000? He said, I'm sure we can. Why do we need to spend 900 more even if it's grant money? And I just don't think we're applying our grant money to our best use and benefit, but we're having a hard time getting Mr. Lee to listen to us, and he don't want to meet with us and direct. And I say we send it back, and I recommend we just quit fooling with it. If they're not going to do something that's going to benefit us for the money we're spending, why are we wasting our time? And that sentiment is across the board here that we've been, way before I got here, the sentiment of the consultants not really considering what we need in these things. We're always saying we're molding it to a grant, what you just said. Except what we would like to see happen is in the same pictures that your people showed us last week, so it has to be within the same areas. It's not 100 yards. And you told me in person that you couldn't get the ditch on the railroad, anything done with it, except Roger called the folk and got it done. It's just we've got some elevation issues and that sort of thing, but you don't seem to be willing to listen to us and work with us to solve the need of what we want to get done. And so I stand by my original statement. I don't really think it's about what fits the grant. Because we're talking about putting that culvert in the same photo that your people presented. And that photo didn't cover about a half a mile stretch of 0418. And so, I for one, I'm out.
Jeff, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any reason why, was you aware they up in meeting?
I knew we were supposed to meet with Roger again and go through the project, which we said we were already gonna be up at a pre-construction meeting at the courthouse, and so we agreed to meet at that time and go through the project.
Okay, but your guy that came in here,
Stephen, we asked Stephen.
I personally asked that question directly to him, and he said there's gonna be no problem. They'll meet with Bruce, meet with Roger, and y'all office and get out there and meet with them.
And all we're
I
asking
just don't
for
know,
is,
all I'm asking y'all is just, if we're gonna do something, let's do what we talk about, let's just get it done. If not, you know, I mean, I got to be on board with Bruce on what he's saying.
I understand.
We got to have communication.
I mean, back when we first talked about it, we was going, well, the railroad's too hard to work with, and you can't get permits and all that. And I invite anybody sitting here to drive out there and see that they worked on both sides of that track, not only between Roosevelt and 0418, but between 0418 and 418.
And Mr. Brooks, I don't know any details, but I could go back and show you 10 different projects of us working in the railroad right away, and to properly contact them and go through all their hoops and red tape, what strenuous work it is.
Okay,
There's some we've been
that's
working
an
on 6,
excuse.
8 months.
That's
No,
an
it's not an
excuse not to
excuse,
try on
it's
this
the truth.
case. Now, what was your response when Roger informed you that the railroad came out and helped us?
Roger didn't tell me that.
Uh-oh. We invited you to come back and look at it again because we got railroad participation. That was the reason for we need a second meeting, so you can see it with your own eyes. And y'all chose not just, and so you're bringing it back. And I'm disappointed in our management for bringing it back, because I've voiced my concern about if they're not gonna talk to us, why are we gonna keep talking? Why do we have to argue about it up here in public when we could work out our issues about technicalities, engineering, grant requirements? Those things should be able to be solved, and not have to be a long drawn out thing, and everybody have to stay away from home till 10 o'clock at night, so we're doing it here now. And so, I'm just totally disappointed in the process.
Well, we brought it back because we didn't know they didn't meet. I did not know that Roger didn't know the project and that they didn't all meet. I didn't know that.
That brings us to a systemic problem within the city. That's our standard answer is we didn't know, and he didn't tell me, and she didn't touch it. And I'm just going, I'm picking up out loud because I want my opinion to be known, and I'm gonna be clear about it. And I'm not gonna back up just because we're in a public forum here saying, I just don't feel like you were responsive. Now, that's just my opinion, and I think it proves to itself what we see here. It was in the public thing with your employee even, and we asked you to come back and look at it and let's reconsider that we didn't really feel like what you were proposing was our best bang for our dollar. And I'm not into wasting grant dollars just for the sake of saying it's free money.
Jeff, is it too late to make this meeting take place?
It's just not too late on my end.
Okay.
And so when I got back in town, talked to Roger, contacted him, we set up a meeting, and so if there's something from that point, Bruce, went sideways, and there was nothing that I worked intentionally to exclude you. There was nothing that me not wanting to listen. We set a meeting up and went through the project, and if I would have known some of these details explicitly, it would have went a different way.
But can we table this tonight?
But the guy Stephen was here also. All we actually do is let's get it corrected the way we actually for it to be done, please. If we can do that, I would appreciate it. Making sure y'all contact Roger, contact Bruce, y'all meet on the location of the site, that's in question.
Make a motion that we table this until that meeting occurs.
Okay,
And again, if you don't mind, if that meeting does not take place, please do not put it back on the agenda.
okay, we have a motion. Did you second that, William?
I can, cause I agree with him, I'll second.
Okay,
It's gonna be.
is there any further discussion on it? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Okay, who made the motion?
Kurt made the motion, William seconded it. All opposed to the motion? Okay, the motion carries to table this until you can set up a meeting and get this, a recommendation that,
If they're available, we'll do it this week.
Roger, you gonna do that? Yeah,
You want out?
set the meeting up.
I'll do it. I'll set it up.
Me, Bruce, and Tony, especially wanna be there.
How
You
many
can't
y'all?
have three of you together.
No, y'all can, I won't, y'all can be there.
Well,
I'm gonna be gone.
Bruce and I'll be with Bruce.
okay, thank you for coming. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding.
No, I apologize if it was something that my staff did that got this sideways. I mean, it's me, and so I apologize if it was a misunderstanding, but again, we got back and I thought I was doing the steps needed. And, you know, it's been my interest for many, many years to do what's in the best interest of Silsbee, regardless of what's being said. And so, yeah, you know, 'cause at the end of the day, I work for y'all. And so and I've worked for y'all for many, many years. And so that's always been my stance.
It's kind of, I went out there and kind of looked at that down by Payne's Road and all that stuff, and that was kind of, it was hard to really comprehend what you guys were talking, saying anyway.
Okay?
You know, so for a layperson, it's not it was difficult.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll change that.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Item 2, discussion and possible action on approving grant completion report for CDBG-HMGP-SUPP 22-119-005-D415 generators. And the city manager's gonna tell us about that.
Well, it's in your packet.
That's the last one, that's the last.
Yeah, it's a report they give you after every grant when they're complete, and it's kind of self-explanatory, it's in your packet. It should be right under the last one for LJA for $7,687.82. Yeah, the last consent one you did was LJA for $7,687.82, and it's the very next thing, it looks like this. And it's several pages long, it's a completion report.
So generator is completely, that's, you through with them?
Cheryl, is that y'all's?
I'm sorry.
Is that your grant?
Yes, that was one of our grants. So basically, we just need,
Could you go over the completion
Sure.
report again?
yeah,
She came in case y'all had any questions on the completion report.
so this is just to finalize the grant, with the GLO. So we just, you can get all the numbers together. Basically, we just need, Deanne to sign off on all these certifications that are here on the first page. She'll just initial that and put a signature there, at the bottom of that page. It just tells when the grant started, when it ended. It's got, you know, we have to break down the expenditures between the administration and the construction. That's what's on page 2. Page 3, we have to list all the fair housing activities that we did period of the grant.
But the GLO requires y'all to approve me to sign.
Yes. Page 4 lists all the different generators that were, the work that was performed, which was all of these generators and the locations of those.
Ian, did you look over each one of them?
Yes, sir, I did.
And
I'm okay with it, yes, sir. But it's just, it's a requirement, anytime you have a completion of whatever agency that has it, they require the grant consultants to prepare this and for us to, y'all to vote to approve me to sign off on it.
Who's required vote?
Yes.
Yes, sir. The vote is authorizing me to sign it and accept it.
Okay.
And she's with Trader and Associates, which is, she works with Melinda.
And then your professional opinion, Deanne, should we approve this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve the grant completion report for the generators.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, further discussion on it? Okay, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. And thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay. Item 3, discussion and possible action on approving change order number 3 in the amount of $42,600 to Texas Pride Utilities for the SCADA 2021 sanitary sewer rehabilitation project. Roger, could you tell us about that?
What this is, we changed the scope, added to the scope of the project. We have a sinkhole, FM 92, state of Texas, Apache Tri-State of Texas, we need to fix it. We videoed the line, a T is leaking, causing the sinkhole, and there's still funds left over in the sanitation sewer rehabilitation project. Look up the cost of putting a manhole into that section, is about $42,000.
Where is it located?
Look, got that right.
Avenue F and 92.
Tell them where 92 start.
92 starts right there at the corner where used to be Community Bank, it's
Commerce
like
Bank.
PC Bank,
PNC.
yeah, that's where 92 starts right there. So Avenue F and 92, a couple blocks down. It's tied into an old line that's right there where Paul Tire Shop used to be at, or Mimi's used to be at. There's an old line right there. It's leaking. So it's causing a problem. So we're gonna do is take the T out and put a manhole in the middle of it. And there's funds still available in this project. It's a pipe busting project. And adding a manhole.
Takes that.
Was that a land that was put in by the city, who's that land put in by?
We don't know that now.
Because right where you talking about wasn't always the city limit of Silsbee.
No, 'cause that used to be,
Okay.
where it's located, it used to not be a lane there. It
Right.
used to be just a 2-lane road through there.
Right.
But we're responsible, state tells us we're responsible.
So everything y'all found was in the college.
Sir?
Everything y'all found so far.
Yeah, that's leaking, yeah. And we're going to fix it more. And we have funds available still in the project.
So yeah, it's not gonna push over or anything like that. It's counted for 42,600.
Yeah.
Tell them what the hold up is.
Sir?
Why you waiting? Tell them that.
Well, yeah, you give us approval for it.
I'm running the other, the other case 22. Take that.
But Tech Dot saying something about it?
Do that?
That's Foghorn, it's TxDOT, but how are they on this project?
TxDOT tells us that we need to repair it, and we sent a tractor plan to TxDOT, we hadn't heard back from them on the tractor plan yet, that we presented to them.
Cause I mean,
They're
some of
telling us that they're counting their road, the Foul Market Road sinking, we need to fix it. That's the.
wait a minute, are they saying it's their roads?
FM 92 is their road.
Wait a minute, you finally got to admit that?
Yeah, their road is FM 92, but it's our line, it's our sewer line.
So back to the beginning of that, FM 92 starts at Avenue G.
Shit, I didn't know.
So
Yeah, it does, right there.
we could mess the road up to get to the sewer lines, and they would have to fix the road though, right? We fix the sewer
We have
line,
to fix the road back up, yes.
You gotta fix the road back up to equal better than
we knew where it was.
As good as you found it, or better.
Yes.
All dry.
But back to what you're telling us is TxDOT saying you either fix it or they're gonna fix it and come back to us,
And bill us.
bill us.
And there's funds available, that's what I take out of our budget, there's funds available still left in this project.
Well, you're recommending we do this.
Yeah.
They do, we got grant money to speed.
You got grant money to spend, so.
Yeah, but now,
Well, now, that's a different animal though, because we're making use of it.
yeah, true that.
Making
But
use
now,
of it.
can TxDOT do it better for the buck? Is they cheap?
They won't do it. They'll do it, probably bill us, who knows what they
We
will.
can't get them to cut grass, they won't get them to fix the road.
Yeah.
I just don't quite understand where they're coming from on the highway department. Because right down at Edward Jones, they tell us to stay off their property, they don't want us to mess with
This is
it.
the middle of the road, this is FM right there, Avenue F. If you look, there's a patch about this big, they patched it 3 times.
Okay,
It's turning into a sinkhole.
They is in us or TxDOT?
TxDOT patched it.
all right.
So I keep telling
It's
y'all,
caused
I'll
by.
make a motion to approve change order number 3 in the amount of $42,600 for Project Pride Utilities for the SCADA 2021 sanitation sewer rehabilitation project.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on
yes,
it?
yes.
Okay,
Any discussion we've been having with TxDOT, y'all just talking to them on the telephone, they send it to you in writing, how we responding to them?
Most of it's been over the phone. I talked to a couple times on the phone, but I noticed this now. Had to go to Neyland Friday. City of Neyland wrote all the medias, City of Beaumont mowing all the medias all the way through there.
I wish, and I keep telling y'all the same thing, I wish we would paper trail to them because some of the response they give us.
Okay.
Yeah, that should happen.
They should have everything with them.
Okay.
Well, if anybody really goes.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna cover ourselves.
okay, any other discussion on it? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Item 4, discussion and possible action on approving ordinance number 26-06, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Silsbee, Texas, amending Chapter 6, Animals of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Silsbee, adopting standard operating procedures for the animal control facility, providing for publication and providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance, and an effective date. City Attorney, could you talk to us about this?
This is an ordinance that updates your current animal control chapter of the ordinances. There were some conflicting terms, so starting with the ordinance, in the Code of Ordinances uses the terms humane officer and city humane officer a bunch. And if we're standardizing that to what it's called in all the laws, it's animal control officer. So I changed the name from humane officer to animal control officer and everything. Then there's a section of and all of your ordinances, like the Code of Ordinances is attached behind the actual ordinance that I gave you, if you want to look at it. Currently, the wording in the ordinance says that the animal control officer is allowed to enforce all the provisions of this chapter, but I don't feel comfortable with that. In most cities, the way that they explicitly put it is that the animal control officer can write citations, and I wanted to specifically say that in case anyone ever questions it. I mean, there shouldn't be ever a question about that. The animal control officer can write citations for violation of the animal code and stuff. And then there is in 646, there is currently a requirement, there's some wording, let me read it to you. in the event the owner of a dog, any dog impounded fails to claim dog, it shall be the duty of the humane officer to destroy any dog without a collar and tag at the expiration of 72 hours, and any dog with a current collar and current tag attached at the expiration of 168 hours. So, I mean, the duty of the animal control officer is kill the dog after 72 hours. I thought maybe we should soften that wording a little bit. That, I mean, it makes
You
the
got
dog.
recommendational words?
Yeah, I've changed it to along the lines of after 72 or 168 hours, the animal control officer is going to. It shall be the duty of the animal control officer at the expiration of 72 hours for any dog without a collar and current tag, or 168 hours for any dog with a collar and current tag, to offer the dog for adoption, transfer the dog to another animal shelter, or as a last resort, destroy the dog. Because I don't think we want to just mandate that at 72 hours we're killing dogs.
I agree.
Yeah.
So those are the major changes, and then I went through and changed just some. I basically made all of the wording in their uniform. There were just things that didn't quite match up, and the way that the wording was written didn't quite match up. It's all in there. There are no other substantive changes. Those are the two substantive changes. The way that we're going to. The grant of the officer's authority and not allowing the dogs, they're not mandating that the dogs be killed after whatever the time period is. And then it also adopts the sort of updated standard operating procedure. I made all the changes that you guys asked for in the workshop. And the only other thing, and this was actually a recommendation of the director of the Dallas Animal Shelter, was that we add that the supervisor of the animal control officer take the animal control course once. Because, as y'all mentioned, how do you know how to do your job? Or how do you know how your subordinates are supposed to do their job if you don't know what the subordinate's job is? So, I added that in there, that within 12 months of the adoption of the ordinance, or the SOP, or within 12 months of getting a new animal supervisor, public works director, then he will take the animal control officer course.
And it's also still clear that we don't take in surrenders.
It is, now there, I have a comment to that. I left that in, that it's a limited admission shelter. The comment that I have is every single organization that I talked to said you don't want to do that, because what that causes is people just leave their dog on the road. And so, I mean, I left it how it was because that's what you all expressed that you wanted it to be, but my recommendation would be that we change it to open admission, because otherwise you get people just dropping the dogs off on the side of the road. Because they know, because it is it is our animal control officer's responsibility to pick up the dog once it's on the side of the road. So the logical extension of that action of not allowing the dogs to be just surrendered is that.
And then just to play devil's advocate, then you end up with litters.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
instead of the people trying to hustle them off on Facebook.
Where's your rule you put in there that if anyone gets caught dropping them off like that, they can be fouled on?
Well, that's not really in the SOP. That's not. I mean, that's not a.
But I thought we had a discussion about you putting it in there.
That's just a law. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's already.
Well,
that's animal code.
no, that's not always been a law, right?
That's a law. You're abandoning a.
Well, you wanna hold on about that?
Well, cause,
I'm speaking.
well, I know, but Sean was gonna tell us what the,
I was just agreeing that abandoning an animal is, animal cruelty.
You just can't dump one.
okay, go ahead now.
Well, my question is, you heard some discussion we had up here. Some of the people that outside the city and everywhere else wanna bring dogs into the city limits of Silsbee and dump.
He's breaking it off.
I just wanna make sure we got something in place
It's
that will
already
take
law.
care of that.
It's already the law. So, I mean, I don't think we need to add to it. I don't think that's really, we're not competent to add to the law that's already in there.
So my question is, we had extensive discussion about that this new position, new thing was gonna have this person reporting to the police department. And I see it's referencing public works employees and cross-trained to ensure, so.
I don't know where that come from, I agree.
I thought we agreed that this person was gonna go back to the police department as it was originally intended.
What are the,
So, Deanne actually asked that it be left there, and it made sense that it be left there. I mean, we can change it if that's something that you insist, but it doesn't make sense for the police for the chief of police to be over animal control, because he would be supervising non-police, employees. I mean,
Here's my question, Solomon, to that. Is, just like I've been telling Dean, you know, first we got established somewhere. At one time, our rule says that it was up on the police department, okay? That's where it was at. And I've been on this council for a long time. I hadn't ever seen anywhere that it came back before this council and we changed it to the city hall. I asked her to show me some proof that we ever did that. Because if you read the charter and the ordinance, it tells you that it can't happen unless it comes before the council.
So I think
Now, if we need to change it, as a whole from this council, the city manager can't make that determination. It's gotta come before this council, unless y'all show me something different.
But I think she already explained that to you, Thomas, that there was a previous city manager that made the change. It didn't go before the council, it came before the city.
So then you're
Well,
saying
if
that
it-
city manager didn't have authority to
You
do that?
got that right.
I don't think he did, but
So then it wasn't
No.
changed. Without authority, he couldn't do it.
it was changed.
No,
20
it was
years
not.
ago.
Oh, he just acted like we changed it.
I mean, and we can, whatever you want, just tell me what, and like, if the majority of the council wants to have it as the police department, I don't really care.
I'm curious what the what you guys, I wanna know what the benefit of moving it to the police department is.
Okay,
Well,
the answer to your question is the fact of, I told you, I don't care if we move it back down here. We're gonna do it right. We ain't gonna just assume nothing, cause something happened way back then. That's not the way you operate business. There is no documentation showing that it was ever left from the police department. I don't care, there is nothing in writing saying that, it was approved by this council.
And to add to that, why was the euthanization medicine located by the, whatever the rules of the, controlled substances? Why was that located at the police department, and why was it not accessible to the public works dog director, dog catcher, animal control officer?
These are all good questions that we've asked in the last couple of meetings, but now I think I'm asking a new one, which is, what are the, and I understand if it wasn't done properly, it needs to be done properly. What is the benefit of having it under the PD, because you both just insisted that it be under the PD?
I didn't say that.
I really didn't either.
You didn't hear me say that. I said, according to all the rules that's in fact right now, that the last rule that I've seen in 29 years doing this council, it was up under the police department, and there is no documentation anywhere showing that it ever got changed anywhere. That's what I'm saying.
So that's not actually true, because it's on the budget.
Okay, well, show me.
It's on the budget every year for what, the last 20 years that it's been under the Public Works Department, and y'all have known that it's under the
You're a city attorney, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you look at that rule? What did that rule tell you?
What,
That rule
that
tells you that it's gotta be changed by this board. So we don't need to try to put words in it, Solomon.
But the fact that you guys have been voting on it every year and approving the budget for the Public Works Department as the animal control is under the Public Works Department is you guys consenting to that. And the bottom line is why are we relitigating something that happened 20 years ago? I don't care.
Well, I care.
Fix it now.
I care.
We need to fix it
Whatever's
now.
going on, it need to be fixed the right way.
If y'all let me
That's what I'm
answer both y'all's questions at the same time. My issue with that is what I've already said. I'm tired of hearing that's how we've always done it. I'm tired of hearing that's the way Grandpa done it. I'm tired of hearing, I don't know who did that, but we just do it that way. And you're telling me I voted on one budget since I've been here, and I'm supposed to know that we got this all wrong 20 years ago?
He's just saying.
And you didn't point it out.
If you went through the budget and saw where the line item was, then you would.
I didn't know that I did not know that it was an issue, that it was in the wrong place. I did not know that we had a deal where the employee of the city requested the stuff he needed for his job, and he was told no.
But, so Bruce, all I'm trying to do is fix it going forward.
And all I'm trying to do is hold us accountable for doing it right
Whatever
going
happened in
forward.
the past, I don't have any control over it.
I don't
All
really have
I
an axe to
can
grind.
do is try and fix it, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what I've been trying to do diligently for going on 3 months now. I mean, I'm working on this way more than I should be. This has monopolized my time, and
But you're hired by the city to do your job.
yes, and I have plenty of other things to do for the city as well, and you need to tell me what you want as a council, and I will make
care.
it.
I'm gonna tell you, like I said before, I don't care which way we do it, but we're gonna do it the right way. I'm not gonna let us just get by because we've been doing it all these
But
years.
we are doing it
It's
the right
gonna
way.
be done the right way.
We're trying to do it the right way going forward. You guys are adopting something, and I mean, you just need to adopt something. It doesn't matter to me what you do, but I need the majority of the council to tell me what to do so that, because I've gotten pulled in so many different directions by this council.
I ain't never pulled you.
You have in some ways,
I'm
and the others have as well.
gonna challenge you on what I feel like is right.
Can I ask one thing?
I have a question I want to,
No, not
you
yet?
can't speak now.
Not yet, okay.
I'm sorry. I have a question, it has to do with if the euthanization drugs go to the police chief, and he has to keep them under 3 sets of lock and keys, and then that makes it hard for him to turn them over to somebody else that he can't be there to watch this drugs all the time.
Is that true, Sean?
That's not true.
If not,
It's just where they keep them, just.
So is it true that the guy that caused all this requested those and he was denied?
It's not true, no, sir.
Oh. Deanne, did the guy that caused all this ask you about it?
He did.
And did
I
you tell
called
him
the
what?
police department, and the police department told me they did not tell him that he could not have them.
But the man didn't get what he needed.
I don't know if he went down there and got it or not. I just know the PD told
So,
me right in front of
let
him
me go
in the
back to your
office.
question. You're saying you're spending so much of your time. Now think about the rest of us up here in our time listening to that. I don't know who said what or when or how or that, and it's not my fault. And that was the guy before me and the guy after me and 20 years ago. And all I'm trying to do, because I'm not really don't have a big axe to grind about whether it's at the police department, but I have a huge axe to grind about let's do it right and let's follow the rules.
And that's what we're doing, Bruce. You are adopting this.
But you give us this 2 days in advance, and then you
I
expect
didn't
us
give
to
it
know
to
it
you.
inside out.
You've had this for a month now.
And we didn't talk about during that workshop that where the responsibility lies for the person that's gonna do the job going forward.
And then the city manager changed.
Well, wait a minute, you just said I had it for months, and now it's got changes in it that the city manager made since that meeting. That's my issue.
Because you told her to
do
do
her
her
job.
You told her.
to do her job.
We all told her to do her
No,
job.
wait a minute.
No, we didn't. No,
You weren't at that meeting?
now, hold on just a minute now, Paul. What I'm trying to tell you, we can't tell her to set this thing up.
Why
The
not?
ordinance tells you so. Read it.
Hang on, why?
Then, did you not give every councilman a copy of the paper like I asked y'all to?
A copy of what paper?
You, come on, man. I asked y'all to make sure every councilman got a copy of all the rules, the ordinance, and everything was telling you about this, because if you think about it, when we first got out, so many people come here saying, well, you councilman should know this and that. No, we don't know everything. That's why I asked y'all to make sure every councilman up there had a copy of all the rules. Did y'all give
Everything
them a
about
copy?
the dogs we did since this started has been given to every councilman twice.
Yes, we've had.
What about the part about the dog?
About the ordinance and everything?
Yes, the ordinance was put in the packet.
The ordinance,
I just got mine.
Yes, they were.
there's probably one in there. I'm just telling you, just because I know that I got 2 copies of it. since the first one they gave us.
That's all you couldn't have.
And then they had revisions, yes, sir.
You couldn't have
And I
got.
got it in email.
But you asking the question you asking, there's no way you can overlook what that rule really said. That's why I made sure all y'all had it, so you'll know what it read.
Which rule?
And I'm gonna go back to my stand of the general operating procedure of the council that was put before us. You're saying we had this for months. Then you're saying, but we made these changes since our last meeting.
You asked me to make changes.
Okay, well, in my world, as y'all all know, I'm a planning spec contractor. When they send out an addendum, they usually highlight them and say, hey, now this is different from the previous version.
They're highlighted.
I don't see it.
Open the packet, they're in there.
You know, here's
Is
my
it
other,
highlighted? Was yours highlighted?
here's my other take on this.
I'm reading the wrong page.
Once,
You set it up with the changes on it.
once this got changed, why did we come back to the drawing board to have another discussion on it before we brought it up to the council for approval?
Because you asked for a workshop.
And
That
we
was a workshop that we had when we were all.
And he made changes after the
We didn't
workshop,
have
so
the
why did
final
we bring
draft
it back?
into that
Was
workshop.
it not in the email?
No.
It was in the email that you got a week ago.
Hold on,
Right, yeah, we did get an email a
Okay.
week ago for this meeting.
alright,
What day?
but I'm asking you,
Tuesday.
but I'm asking, when we had a meeting on this, we had a discussion, you changed some of the stuff up. Why didn't we come back and have another meeting saying, okay, here are your changes, like right now, it's in front of us, one of them,
Because you didn't ask me to do that, Thomas. You asked me to make changes, and I made the changes, and then we put it on the agenda. You didn't ask me to set up another workshop.
well, no,
You
y'all
asked
came,
me to make changes.
y'all came back and made some more changes that we wasn't aware of.
I know, because at the work, and listen, I'm just telling you what I remember hearing or what I remember saying. Whenever we had that workshop,
No, you told her to do her job, right? That's what you said.
absolutely, absolutely. This is not, we
We
don't
got-
have to
we-
go
we-
through and make
we-
all these little,
We got a hold of a meeting amongst this council
she's the
because
city manager,
because she worked for everybody.
to manage the city.
She worked for this whole council.
That's right.
Hey, we all know you called her and told her to change this police chief thing. She told it.
No, I texted her, told her, I said, hey.
Oh, I changed
no,
my
no, no,
mind.
no,
I
no,
don't
no, no,
vote
no.
that way anymore, because now I see what y'all
Hang
doing.
on a
I don't
second.
like that
Let me
change.
help you with
of
something.
mind.
I didn't call her and tell her to change it. I said, I'm retracting what I said. I wanna retract what I said about changing it over to the
And you
PD.
changed it to match what he wanted,
I changed the message what Deanne asked me to change.
because he was pressuring her.
Whoa, settle down,
Did you
chief.
text her?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I'll pull it up, and there was zero pressure. I just said, I am retracting what I said, because I sent it to both of you, so there would be a witness of what I said.
That's why I really should came back.
If you guys wanted it to PD, then let's go, let's vote on it. If
I
not,
never-
if that's something that needs to be voted
That-
on.
I never said that, but I'm saying to you is that the last rule that I seen showed that police department, if it need to be changed, then this whole council will have to vote on it, to change it back to the city, to change it to the city, not back to the city, to the city. Because
No, I understood what
if
you
it
were
hadn't
saying.
done that way, it didn't happen.
I understood what you were saying.
That's all I'm saying.
And what I'm saying is the next employee needs a very clear set of who they work for, who's gonna help them with their job, furnish the stuff they need. I don't care if it's the police department or the public works, but I've heard the I don't knows, and it wasn't me, and we didn't
And
talk about it.
that's why it's all in the procedures, Bruce. I mean, all of that is in there. That's the whole point of this.
I had so many people approach me out in the open saying, well, y'all should have known who the boss were. No, I'm on this council. I couldn't have told no one who the boss were, because according to the rule I know about, it showed one thing, and then all of a sudden I'm listening to everybody else that's saying, but it belongs to public works. So I was very confused.
So, one more question I have. Does this new standard operating procedure address the things that we talked about in the workshop, such as the after hours or a weekend part of it? Who's actually gonna be responsible for maintaining the?
Yeah, the on-call public works department employee.
But they're gonna be trained as well.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be trained.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
well, hold on, when I say training, and I'm talking about, are they gonna do a
The
class?
ACO training, yes, that's required.
How many different, public works, employees do we have that could or will be on call at any given time?
Parks Department on Saturdays and Sundays, they pick up trash.
How many people though?
Two.
2? Okay.
2 to 1 at the field, sometimes
What?
1 guy.
Well, no, I was just curious, how many different people, how many unique humans would be on call?
It was water and sewer had 1 guy on call, all weekend.
But it could be any of the 14 that work in water and sewer, or however many?
No, there's just 3 of us.
No, look like you forcing me to
But
one
they
department.
rotate.
Look like you forcing to one department.
No, I'm asking, I'm not
No,
forcing
no, you
anything.
ain't. The way you just told me, be forcing to one department.
He said parks, and then he said water and sewer. So I'm like, on any of the city employees that could possibly be over that or have to go pitch in, I'm curious, because everybody needs to know what that job, how important it is, and what's entailed. We can't just send, the guy that just showed up Thursday, just on his second day, to go do the animal control officer's job, and he's just like, man, I don't
No,
know.
what you just said was, we're gonna send 14 people if that number's correct.
That's why I'm asking.
Exactly, I get you, you're gonna send everybody. Everybody.
Anybody who's gonna be in the town needs to take the class.
Correct. That's,
Well, that ain't what y'all just got to saying. Y'all saying there's gonna be, the parks department gonna be doing it.
Parks Thomas Lacey and them group said they would do it. But anybody who's gonna be out in the town will have to take the class, period, before they feed an animal out there.
they need to be properly trained, or else we're negligent.
How long does it take to take the class?
There's an online class that you can take.
You're not gonna be able to afford it.
All right, well, we gotta sort that out.
Okay.
Well, no, hold on just a minute.
Plus, you look at
Hold on
Ain't
just a minute.
nobody in the class, in that department that probably took that class, and we sat there and we all know that.
What needs to happen
Move
is,
forward now, if some mistakes done, now is the time for us to correct it. We gonna vote, you can vote tonight to make it for the city, or we can vote to make it for the police. But we gonna have to make a decision today, that way I didn't know, and all the other things will be eliminated.
Listen, we can't vote to make it for the city or police tonight, it's not on the agenda.
but you have
Talk
to
about it all
have
day long. Now,
2
so listen,
registered.
So I think we should vote to approve the changes that Solomon has made. It's like, William said, let's get something in place. Let's progress here. Let's try to solve the solution short term, and then we can look at the long term as far as, hey, down the road, let's go ahead and switch them, or let's have a conversation to do that. But we need something in place now for
Well,
change to start
If
happening.
we approve this, even with changes, then that would, I believe, be doing that, correct?
You could approve
What you said earlier.
the ordinance with the changes made to the SOP
And
saying,
then we decide that we can redo the ordinance.
no, but the SOP part, you can ask that we amend the SOP as it is to have the police be the, instead of the,
That's what I'm saying, let's get something in place now,
Now,
let's the progression go.
I think we're going back. You can try to say you're going forward all day long. I think you're going back until we determine whether it's gonna be the police or the city. We should not be setting this up until we get that done. That's where our problem was at to begin with.
I think that's what Solomon was saying.
yeah,
Vote
No.
and determine where it's gonna set,
yeah.
and then put the plan in force.
Y'all do what you gotta do. I'll say it, I'm done.
Well, the city charter said, and I don't mind taking the blame for something I did. I did not check to see if that dog pound guy that didn't even work for me went down there and got his medicine for the PD. But it has been under Public Works ever since I come to work here. I'm not the one that changed it.
Listen,
Nobody
Deanna,
ever told me.
Wait,
y'all
wait,
did
wait,
this.
wait, hold on.
Listen,
I know that I never
listen,
get to say
guys.
anything
Hey,
in
guys.
my defense for nothing.
Hey, I don't know where this is going, so this is fire, there's no reason. to
No,
get
she
me
stopped
back
please,
on.
Bert.
No,
Please, let us
Point of order,
Go
very
ahead,
top.
yeah.
do it.
Okay, if I do something wrong, I don't mind taking the blame for it. But I had no earthly idea that y'all did not know, because for the 25 years that I've worked here, y'all have been given a report, and maybe there's new council members that wasn't here at the time, and it's always been a department called Animal Control. As city manager by city charter, I do not have the authority to dissolve that department. It says city council is the only one that can create or dissolve. So, in the meantime, we didn't have a dog catcher, we wasn't running the dog pound, I had to do something. As he said, do your job, that's what I was trying to do. Currently, it was under Department of Animal Control, So I told Mr. Martin we're gonna keep it under animal control for this moment until council decides if they wanna dissolve the animal control department and move it back to the PD.
Well, that's where I don't agree with you, again. You saying move it back. It's at the PD and it's at the PD anyway, according to what the
Okay, but
law
that department was created before my time. City charter says I don't have authority to discreate it.
No, you was working when that took place, Dan.
I was not the city manager, no
You
sir,
said-
I was not.
I didn't say city manager. You was the city secretary
Well,
when
I
it
was
took
the
place.
secretary that did
Okay.
what the manager told me to do. That's a big difference.
That's not,
Well,
You still-
if
you
y'all want
had-
me to take the heat for
Well,
my
no, what I'm
fault,
saying-
somebody else should took the heat for that,
what
not
I'm
me.
saying, but you had the knowledge of it, Dan, that we didn't have.
Okay.
And because several times when you do the budget, I said, Dan, is there anything in the budget we need to know about? Are you okay with everything there?
How would I have known to say, oh, guess what? A department got created 20-something years ago, but I didn't do it, someone else did it. Like Bruce said, stop blaming it on everybody else.
I
Let's
don't
just
think we need to
vote
blame
to
anybody on
fix
him,
whatever
that
the
we
problem
need
is.
No,
to try to fix it.
All I want us to do is fix
Point of order is,
Wait, please. All I want us to do is fix the problem, move forward, fix the problem, let's get it set. I
Well,
don't
I
care
want
what
it done
direction
too.
it go to, I don't care where it go. I just thinking it'd be approved by this council on what direction it need to be and move forward.
Make a motion.
Well, we
That's what
wanted
we're
that
asking
way
you to
too.
do.
Okay. Solomon, can we make a motion as to where we would like this thing to be, or do we need to go ahead and approve this and then make an amendment to it?
You can, why don't you make a motion as to who is the supervisor and vote on that, and then make a motion to approve the ordinance and the SOP based on that decision.
Okay, is that, let's
All
go.
right, so, you said an amendment first, is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to make an amendment that we keep animal control where it currently is, under Public Works, and approve ordinance number 2606 with the current changes.
Why don't you separate them? So vote on the
The amendment
The
first.
amendment
All right,
first.
so the amendment to keep animal control under Public Works direction.
I second that one.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on it?
Yes,
Okay,
based on the motion that Paul made, I will not go along with his motion. He said, keep it the Public Works when it shouldn't be there to begin with.
See, I
I
agree
won't
with you,
go along
Thomas,
with that.
I
If that's
agree
what it is
with
in
you,
the budget,
but we
so
can't find
We
anywhere,
can't say that it's
there's
under the
nothing on
PD.
paper that shows one way or the other.
Oh, yeah, these are two, you can stop there.
Well-
Dan, did you give him a copy of it? Dan,
Again, a copy of what? I gave him a copy of so many things. I don't know what
Okay.
specific copy you're asking me for.
all right, the city ordinance says that the dog catcher goes up on the police department, and it can't be changed unless it's voted by the council. Am I right or wrong?
Every council member here got a copy of the city ordinance twice in the meeting and again in the workshop. So y'all want me to go dig it out again?
No, I'm asking you a question. Does it say does it say what I just said, yes or no?
No, the actual ordinance says that it's under the city manager.
No.
Yeah, I'll read it to you. The city manager or his designee shall appoint for a period to be terminated at his pleasure a qualified person to act in the capacity of city humane officer, whose duty it shall be to see the provisions of this article are enforced. For his services, the humane officer shall receive such compensation as shall be fixed by the council.
Okay, now, you say you're reading in the ordinance?
Yes, that is the ordinance.
Okay, well, if I prove to you something different, then I'm gonna have an issue with you.
It's on the ordinance website. I mean, if you
I'm
want,
just telling you, you
that's,
better go back and, you should've went back and read a little bit more before you made that statement.
Thomas, that's.
I'm through with it, Dalton. I'm through
It's
with it.
that point where I've
Okay.
tried, I've had some things
Cause
I'd
I've
like
had
to say real
information.
quick, so, I seconded Paul's motion, but also want it to be known that, if I'm voting to keep it with City Works, like, ignorance is no longer okay. You know what I'm saying, like, like, I got it, there was nothing written in place of who was in charge of what, hey, you know what, that shit just sailed. You know what I'm saying? Like, any more incidences like this where if you try to play blind, like I didn't know, I want to tell you right now, I've served this country for 23 years, I know a little bit about leadership. You have to inspect what you expect. You know, so you can't play dumb to something that could possibly have been going on that you may have known about. And I got it, in this situation, it's over with. The ship sailed. But it's not going to sail anymore. Right? Like, leadership is a burden. Like, you have to get in the weeds of your people, and you have to be able to inspect what you expect. So playing ignorant game is not going to be an option anymore.
So I would change that amendment, and since it's under the city manager, I want to make the amendment that animal control officer be placed under public works.
Agreed. Second that.
Hang on, we gotta deal with what we did in the first, what the first motion was.
Well,
Right?
just amended his motion.
What?
I rescinded it, and now I'm changing it so the wording is right.
Okay. All right, repeat it.
We'll make an amendment that the animal control facility and officer be placed under public works.
Second that.
And we have a second. Is there any other discussion on it? Okay, we're gonna vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay, we have 2 nays and 4 ayes. Does that sound right to everybody else? Okay, so the motion passes.
Neighbors and May Thomas.
Now, Barry, man, I'd like to go on record. And my neighbor was not saying that I'm against it because of where it's at, it's just the way I feel like we're doing business. And I think we're incorrect about we're doing it, and I definitely disagree with what our city attorney just got through explaining a while ago. Please make sure you report me on record on that.
And one more thing, when you were talking about ignorance, were you calling me ignorant?
No, ma'am, that's not what I was getting at. I'm not calling
Okay, I
anyone
just wanted to make
ignorant.
sure, because I never said I didn't know.
Say
it wasn't
ignorant,
a
that's
public works.
using as expression,
In general.
you know, in general.
And I'd like to be on the record to say my opposition to it's not particular to where it's at, it's particular to, we just read the charter saying it was under the city manager. And we just heard the city manager say that the person that was the previous animal control officer, which did not work for her, came to her. And I want that just pointed out, that that's what I take issue with some of this, is what else is in this writing that we don't have the privy of being able to dig through, you know? And I'm working for free.
You've had it for quite a while, Bruce.
But I'm working for free, so don't tell me about how hard you're working when you're getting paid. I would expect for you to spoon feed it to us a little better maybe since you're getting paid. So be on the record for that.
Okay, so that has passed. Now then, if we move to the second part of that, can we proceed to the ordinance number 26-06?
I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 26-06 with the amended version that has been changed, and we've gotten a copy of it and an email.
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? Okay, then we're gonna vote. All in favor of passing ordinance number 26-06?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, was that an aye or?
She said aye. There's no
Okay.
other.
Are those opposed?
Nay.
No,
Okay, we have 4 ayes and 2 noes. And so this motion passes. Okay?
It will need to be brought back next month for the second reading.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, now we'll move on to item 5. Discussion and possible action on creation of standard operating procedures for all city departments. Councilmember Tina Holman, would you explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, I got a proposed policy, City of Silsbee Department of Operation, Infrastructure, and Management Policy. The purpose of the policy is to strengthen operation consistency, transparency, and accountability across city departments by requiring written standard operation procedures and structure planning for infrastructure and management. City Council recognizes that administration is responsible for day-to-day management of city operations. The policy is intended to ensure that appropriate operation systems and planning tools are in place that support effective service delivery, protect city employees, and promise transparency for the citizens of the city of Silsbee. I have sections, department standard operating procedure. Each department shall maintain a written standard SOP that outlines the operation processes necessary to perform the department's primary functions and responsibilities. Departmental SOP shall be developed and maintained by department heads or appropriate administrative authority and shall be reviewed periodically to ensure accuracy and relevance. Employee handbooks address personal policies and shall not substitute departmental operation procedures. Section 2 is minimum consent of department procedures. Department standard operation shall include written operation procedures related to department services, procedures for responsible for citizen services, requests or complaints, emergency incident response procedures, record keeping and documentation procedures. Compliance with applicable city policies, state laws, and regular requirements. The section 3 is annual review of procedures. Each department shall review the standard operating procedures annually, update them as necessary to reflect operational changes, improvements in service delivery, or changes in legal or regulatory requirements. Section 4, administrative oversight. The city manager, the city administrator, or appropriate administrative authority shall oversee the implementation of maintenance of departmental procedures and may maintain copies of standard SOPs for administrative reference, training, and continue to it. Section 5, street and infrastructure management plan. The department responsible for street maintenance infrastructure shall maintain street management plan. And this is actually a system, it's not just written plans, an actual plan put in place to guide the prioritization of maintenance and repair of city streets and related infrastructure. The street management plan shall establish objective criteria using elevation, prioritization, street repairs, and restructuring projects. At a minimum, the plan shall consider the following factors where applicable. Structural conditions of the roadway service and base traffic volume and roadway usage, safety concerns or hazards, drainage conditions affecting roadway performance, connectivity to schools, emergency routes, and public facilities, cost effectiveness of repairs versus reconstruction, geographic distribution of projects across the city. Available funds, sources include capital funds, grants, federal and state programs. The purpose of the street management plan is ensure transparency, consistent, equality, and infrastructure decision making. And the section 6 is citizen service request tracking. Each department that provides direct service for the public shall maintain a system for tracking citizen service requests, complaints, or maintenance reports. Not just like, actually a system, not just written on paper where we can actually, they don't have to go back and look for files or anything. They can actually pull it up on the system and go directly to it and don't have to go searching for stuff all the time.
Right.
They make it more proficient. The system shall document data that request was received, nature of the request or issue reported, department responsibility for response, actions taken to address the request, date the request was resolved and closed, and the system is intended to ensure that response to citizens and provide documentation of service delivery. And then there's a section 7, infrastructure and project reporting, department responsibility for infrastructure, public works, utilities, and capital improvements shall maintain documentation of major infrastructure projects, maintenance activities. This documentation shall include street repairs, reconstruction projects, drainage improvements, utility infrastructure repairs, capital improvement projects, funding services associated with the infrastructure. Administration may provide periodic summaries of these infrastructure works to City Council, which I know you do already, support transparency and communication regarding city projects. Section 8 is government role of City Council. City Council acknowledges that operational management of city departments is the responsibility of administration. The policy is intended to support strong operational systems, improve communication, and promote transparency while maintaining appropriate governance boundaries. Implementation upon adoption of this policy, the department shall develop or update standard operating procedures and require planning documents with a reasonable time frame as determined by administration.
Do we not have a system that she just explained?
You do not have an SOP for departments. No, you have a job description.
How long has this city been here? 1860 what? That's sad, guys, like 100%.
So I appreciate you doing all that, you know, if you don't mind me asking, what is your resources, I guess, in qualifications, I guess, to put all that, right? So, and I say that not to like, take away from the work you've done, like, I'm just asking, like, is there, like, professionals who can,
Oh, yeah.
like,
There
give
are.
us, hey, you know what, this is what a city should have, you know, like, in what it needs to have, and the big ticket items, the things they need to hit. Everything you just did, I know for, you know, no doubt, it's like very important, right? And so is there other areas that we may have missed? You, like, maybe if I were to do that, or Paul were to do it, or Bruce were to do the research, you know, I'm no expert at, you know, what, is there state entities that come in and look at doing inspections on
You can
us?
have an
or
operational
things like
audit.
that. I don't have that background to be able to say, hey, this is the sections that matter the most.
None of us
Most
do.
businesses have SOPs. This is not,
No, I know that.
she
I'm
can do
not saying
administrative,
that.
it's actually the city manager supposed to do the SOPs.
Yeah, I agree.
So, that's who's supposed to do the job, we're not supposed to do it, they're supposed to do it.
We can hire somebody to do an
Yeah.
operational
Yeah.
audit.
Yeah.
We
What I'm
have
saying
somebody to
is,
do
yes.
an
Yeah.
audit over the whole system,
Correct.
or lack thereof,
Yeah.
and then say, no, this is what it needs to look like.
That's what I was getting, that's what I was looking
Yeah.
into.
Yeah.
Like, you did all the legwork right there, you shouldn't have to. Right, 'cause that's not our job to come up with SOPs for the city, just like Paul said. Yeah, that's
This
taken
is
away
not
from us.
actually, this is a policy, not the.
Correct, yeah, I got it, yeah, even, that needs to happen 100%.
It's actually a short list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that, actually, this is way more detailed than
No
that.
doubt, and that's what I'm saying, I think there's people that we can maybe look at, come in, and give us some advice on what needs to happen there, like you said, an operational audit, Paul.
So back to meeting at hand, what were you asking us to take action on there?
Putting a policy in place that they're required to have an SOP in place for each department.
And so do you put a timeline on that?
That's
I mean,
what I was gonna say, probably just need to say.
is it like within a year, within 5 years, you know, it took you 10 minutes to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just
It's
trying to
gonna
be
take a lot of
fair. I mean, it's a lot of work, I mean,
But they know, each department should know what they require, and each department, they're already ahead of it, they should know.
But I think
what-
it's,
so are you envisioning this being something that we mandate to the city employees, and then we're gonna come back and say, y'all tell us how you're coming along? It's not a program we can go out and buy that's gonna
No.
help them do it.
There is,
Budget for
but,
it.
for this, yeah.
we should have an answer within 90 days on what we're doing about it, and it needs to be a good plan. I think that an operational audit is the answer at this point. So,
But y'all just said two different things.
Yeah, it's a policy in place. If they can actually work on getting a policy in place and do it within 6 months, because it's gonna take some detail. They gotta know what they need. They know what each department head should know what they need in their department, what required of their job duties. If they don't know, they need to get the qualifications so they do know what they need to do.
I'm talking
And
about.
then if you, like, we want things up here like paperwork and all that, if we put it in a system, you don't have to go back and look for all that stuff. It's already in place, and we don't have to be guessing on what needs to, where things are. What had taken place 10 years ago, what happened 5 years ago, what happened last month. We should be able to pull it up and have it in front of us.
So to Paul's question, an operational audit, I would dare say it's gonna cost a few dollars, and now we gotta talk about the budget for it. And secondly, I would dare say it probably takes 6 months to a year to have an outside firm do an operational audit. Do y'all agree or disagree? I ain't never done it.
It might,
But I'm just thinking out loud.
but you said it, and
That don't mean it's not
we're gonna have to
necessary.
find the money, you know, or we're gonna have to find the money, because we can't afford to keep going like this. Like, it's just a mess, man. Y'all wonder why nobody wants to run.
But again, I'll quote my old daddy, you can't turn the battleship around on a dime.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
I think this policy is the first step. or put the policy in place and require them to start working on it. And then we can work toward a more suitable program. Cause they already know what they need to do in their department. We're not in day-to-day operations, they are, they know.
I mean, I agree,
what
something has to happen.
Yes, it's something that's happening, we can't wait on.
No different than,
I think we'll get this, and listen, I'm 100% with you. I want to stand up and clap when you got done, okay? Not because you were done, but because that needs to happen. So don't take me the wrong way. But at the same time, maybe I can, but I don't know if it's reasonable to have Roger not log additional hours on top of what he already logs. If it's, just stick with me, to sit down and write everything for every person that he's over. Does that make sense?
But it's not every person, it's for the department.
Correct. And then, like, I'm thinking about, because this is something I have to do for my business, and I'm gonna hire somebody to evaluate. It's gonna be expensive, but I can't make the money that I need to make if I'm sitting around there doing this all the time. And I'm just concerned with it being such a big distraction, because it's gonna get down to the wire and be like, all right, it's time to look at it, and they'll be like, oh crap, I better put something in there. And then
So you assume that you do nothing?
I just think that it needs to be, with an operational audit, and then have somebody plug something in. I think it would, in the end, it will pay off. I'm just throwing that out there.
so does your agenda item have a timeline?
My thing is 6 months. You give them 6 months to do it.
So I guess maybe Roger Deanne could give us an opinion whether they think that's fair. Because if we're unfair, and then we run the whole gang off, then we still got an operational problem. Not that we don't need change, I'm just saying, because y'all heard me say it out loud a lot.
Then it won't be where, I don't know, we won't know things. We already have everything in place. Everybody knows what they supposed to do. There won't be no guesswork. It'll be.
I'm in agreement.
Roger, do you have an opinion?
I think it needs to be done right.
Do you have an opinion if you're agreeing?
Do what now?
From a public works standpoint, is that a reasonable request to get these standard operating procedures in writing?
You guys imagine you don't have, you got 6 employees in the water sewer, you got about 6 employees in the streets department, you got 2 in parks department.
It's not for each employee, you just make it.
But it's departments, yeah, I understand it's
Yeah.
departments and stuff, this is what we can work on, yes.
Yeah.
And then I see this being almost like a living project, because you might not run across a scenario
Yeah.
that you're like, oh, we really need to talk about this. Like something I can think of, I'm not gonna say.
True.
This is what happens in a situation like this. And so, that's why it can be a lengthy process without an outsider coming in saying, hey, we've seen this at 12 different cities.
Yeah, the thing about it is, if we don't have the money for the outsider to come in, so you.
No, I get it, but that's-
You need a great hour, you need this or that or something.
That's for us to,
Yeah, equipment wise and stuff like that.
But it's not.
It's a good idea, yeah, it's a very good idea.
Not-
Yeah, you got the
it's not-
feedback on what Tina did went over?
I mean, we'll just have to get one, but you're not gonna find one at no small city around here to even look at, to compare, because they don't have them, because I don't call and check. I would just have to check with a bigger city and try to look at one that somebody has, and we'll have to create them.
So, Mr. Solomon,
No city around here has SOPs, is what you're saying?
Not small cities, I mean, big city might.
I'm a part-time employee, Bruce. If you need more hours, you're gonna have to pay for it.
noted.
Yep.
Noted. He's complained twice about doing his job in this meeting.
Right.
And I'm not saying, I don't know what time it's gonna take. But I don't want you lecturing me on how hard you're working. I'm just saying.
I'm not necessarily negative about what you're saying. I just wonder if we need to take another month and look at this, and if evaluate it, and then come up with a motion to either do it or don't do it. So,
I think y'all blowing it out of proportion though,
Yeah.
because it's not that, not what y'all making it out to
Again,
be.
then I guess that's a Deanne question. Deanne's
Yeah,
called
we
for
can
something.
start. We can
We just
start.
don't wanna be unfair
Huh?
to them.
We can start on it. I don't have an issue with that.
Listen, I don't think they're trying to put anything you've done down, Tina. Like, I think we all just wanna be on the same sheet of music and make sure that's all the areas we need it in. You know, an expert to be able to tell us if we need it in one area and maybe not in one of the ones you put on there or whatever. You know what I mean?
This is just a policy that, actually,
Correct.
SOP,
Yeah, policy
they're gonna
turns
do
into
that. We're
procedure.
not gonna even, we
Policy
don't even have
turns
anything to do
into
with that.
SOP. So what I'm saying is, we bring an expert in to help us out overarching, to help come up with the policy and the SOPs. You know, like, it's just my opinion.
I could just do some research on it and see how much it would cost for a company versus if we did it ourselves, see what I can come up with.
okey-doke. Do we need to, we don't need to take any action on it at all tonight, do we?
Well, let's actually a line item, if y'all want us to implement it, y'all have to authorize me to start the work.
I would ask
Trying
them
to get some.
to make the motion that we table this for 1 month, and so, and to look at other avenues, and put it on the agenda for next month, to talk about, and then look at, we making a motion to approve it or not.
Tina, were you trying to put it on the night to get a?
Yeah, because they're complaining about what's not being done, this is the way to get started, even if you don't, just not doing nothing is not solving anything.
I hear you, but you're making policy, right? Like, you're.
But the SOP I'm not making, that's not what I'm doing, just policy to get started.
Is y'all confusing SOP with work instructions? Cause this is the SOP can be accountability.
Yeah, that's counting.
If Paul say he's wearing a cap, then he got to show that he's wearing a cap. Bruce can't say he's wearing a cap. Paul got to say that. It's an accountability thing. We're not gonna tell you you gotta take a shovel to dig a hole. You just take, that's training, that's work instructions.
Mhm.
We going by accountability, so if something out of the ordinary happened, we can look it up and say, okay, you signed off on this, you is responsible.
Yes.
That's what this is about. I think we're making a mountain out of a molehill.
My only question was, is it reasonable to put a 6-month deadline on the, when we're agreeing we don't have it now? Is that reasonable? That's all I'm saying.
It can
If they
be
say
a
it's reasonable, I'm good.
rolling process, but we need to make something roll. Cause right now we standing there, I think so,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah,
All right.
This is an accountability thing. It's not a training course.
yeah.
It's an accountability. If you say you done it and you signed off on it, then you is responsible for it, not me.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we start.
But Kurt made a motion, so you're.
I rescind my motion,
I'm gonna make a motion that we begin the creation of this standard operation procedures for all city departments, led by each department head, and in right.
I second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion on it?
Dan, are you okay where we at?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay. Discussion and possible action on issuance of request for proposals for the 2026 solid waste contract. And Solomon, could you tell us about that?
This is the RFP that we've had on the agenda for 3 months now. I'm asking that you approve the issuance. there is one change that Brooke pointed out that we need to make to the RFP, which is we wanna add 2 free workdays, but what I would say is just allow the city, the city's procurement department is the one that typically does RFPs. I drafted the framework, but I don't know everything that needs to go in there, and Brooke has a better idea, so what I would say is that if you're ready, instruct them to issue the RFP based on the framework with any changes that the city management finds necessary.
Dean,
Yes, sir.
in this, I haven't really looked over, did y'all line up for the 2 cleanup days?
Well, that's what you were talking
That's what I
about.
just said. I didn't add that, so Brooke's gonna add
The 2
that.
days
Well, you just,
need to be added, the 2 days weren't added, and they need to be added in there, the 2
I'm
days.
trying to make sure the 2 days is spelled out for cleaning purposes.
Yes, sir, that's what they're talking
Y'all
about.
just
is adding
said 2
those
days. I
Well,
wanna make
that's
sure-
what we mean for
No,
the citizens to be able to take their
I'm
stuff.
I'm a little slow, I want to spell it out. It's for the cleaning like we do twice a year.
But it actually says that when we give it to you. It will say that, yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Y'all can send 2 days.
All right,
I'll make a motion that we approve, or that we issue RFPs for 2026 solid waste contracts.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second, is there any discussion on it?
Who seconded it?
Kurt. There's no discussion on it, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries, okay? Keep covering up my agenda. Sorry about that. Okay, item 7, discussion of possible action on cataloging and removal of abandoned utility poles in the city's right of way.
So Thomas brought this up, a few months ago.
2 years ago.
Actually, it was about a year ago.
2 years ago.
Well, about a year ago, you asked me to write a letter to the Comcast and,
Yeah, you're right about that. It was a year, but it was 2 years I've been trying to get it done. I
So-
just found it done 11.
I wrote the letters a year ago, and how much of that has been done, Roger?
They haven't transferred anything over to the new post yet.
They haven't transferred it over?
What we have mostly is, you said abandoned posts, we got one on Sweat Road, we got one on MOK and 11. What we have is half these, what Energy does, when they come in and set a pole, they cut the top of it off and leave AT&T or Spectrum on their existing pole, and that, AT&T and Spectrum has not moved theirs to the new pole.
Okay, but it was, what Thomas was talking about last year was the broken poles.
That's what I'm saying. They cutting the poles, they cutting them, they cut the top part off, and they let the rest of it stay up. So, we gotta try to send a letter to Spectrum and all of them, who's responsible for removing?
Well, so that's what I'm asking for here is, I looked at what other cities do, and they set up a right-of-way maintenance ordinance. It basically, you issue a design book or a design manual for your right-of-way. You say, this is what we'll accept in our right-of-way, because these are all public right-of-ways. I mean, this is property that's owned by the city of Silsbee that these franchisees are allowed to use on behalf of the city, or, so for their services. So you issue a design manual and a right-of-way maintenance ordinance that says, all right, well, we're going to set up a procedure for abandoned poles, and if you know, and first of all, so in the design manual, if you're gonna say that they're cut off poles that you're leaving the utility lines on, you'd have to say, we're not gonna accept that anymore. If you want, if you want these lines to be in our right of way, then they need to be attached to a regular pole.
Yeah, it should be, when Energy replaced the poles, like down MLK, they cut the tops of it off, and Spectrum, AT&T still has it on what he's calling a broken pole. They cut the top of it off, and then there's new poles sitting right beside it, they just need to transfer their system over to that pole.
So you're saying that AT&T and Spectrum still has their services run on the old pole?
There's some of both. There's some that just got the stub sticking out and nothing on it.
So then you go back to the design manual and you say, okay, this is what I expect in my city, is a full-size pole run by energy. Everybody's gonna either run their services underground or they're gonna run them on the big poles, and anything else is unacceptable. And then you also have, annual permits for each one of these poles. We're allowed to do that. We can have a permit fee for each pole. And then if they don't, if they don't follow the rules, and we can figure out from the Public Utilities Commission by the GPS coordinates of the pole, whose pole it is. Because the Public Utility Commission actually has a catalog of all those. So they should have a catalog, I should say. Or they have a catalog and all the poles should be in it. So you basically, you create your ordinance and say, all right, here's the procedure that we're gonna do. If you have a halfway cut off pole or a half a pole, you have 60 days to transfer it to the other, to the main energy poles. And then you send them a notice that says they haven't complied with that. If they don't comply, you try and figure out from the Public Utilities Commission who owns the pole. Then you send a notice to the pole owner saying, hey, it's time for you to comply, pull this up according to the city's ordinance, and you start fining them by the day. And then if they don't do it, we send Public Works out there to knock the pole down and cover the hole, and we bill it back to the utilities company.
A little bit of a complication in your story.
Right.
Is it starts off, it's an energy pole, okay? And for some reason, whether it got hit by an automobile, it got rotten, whatever, storm, and some of that pole, and energy deems it necessary to set a new one.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't know if the communications companies pay a fee to mount their things on that energy's power pole, but in the original, they're all on the energy's pole. Well, when Energy puts a new one in, they put the energy lines, the power lines are on the new pole, and then out of courtesy, in my opinion, they leave that stub there for the communication guys to come behind them and move their stuff to the new pole, but they never do it. But when you go to the Public Utility Commission, you're gonna find out that's Energy pole. And now you're gonna be fining Energy because AT&T or Spectrum didn't remove their stuff off of their pole. Now, I don't know if that goes downhill or what, but I'm just saying, you're not gonna find that pole belongs to Spectrum.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, is if whenever Energy puts in a new pole, do they replace it with the commission?
It's in the same location. These are all the same location. They touch them on this.
Right.
They drill a hole beside it, move their stuff over, chop off the pole just above, because the communication stuff's
It's
down low.
almost the same hole.
Almost same
Now,
hole.
also, another thing they're doing, there's been a couple places, they'll cut the pole deep with the ground and still leaving some of the stud there. I got pictures of that as well.
That's what's that.
All right, there's another one, they had taken the pole completely out of the ground, now the big hole sitting there, but they removed that pole from it, then cover it back up.
Well, again,
These
that's all
kind
part
of
of,
things, I was trying to make sure we address in this letter.
that's all part of what
Make sure
goes into the design manual of, we're not gonna accept cut-off poles, we're not gonna accept poles that are cut level to the ground and left without a cement patch. I mean, you put that in your design manual, and then you start finding people.
Okay. I would also ask if, isn't our Christie Sanders, our energy public communication
Contact.
person? And you'd think you could go through energy and say, hey, y'all need to put some pressure on the Spectrum people to clean up these poles. It's their pole. I'm telling you, it's their pole.
Now,
Until you prove me wrong, it's their pole.
Now, what I was told by one is that they got X amount, AT&T or Spectrum got X amount of days to change everything over to the pole. And if they don't do it in X amount of days, then they got assumed responsibility of moving the pole out of the ground once they do change it over. That came from Energy to me. Now, I don't know if that's good information.
So the public utilities law actually talks about the management, the right-of-way management ordinance, and that's, the right-of-way management ordinance is the tool that the public utilities laws give us to manage this. So, I mean, there are lots of other cities that are doing this same thing or have done this same thing, and the idea is, I mean, you basically, I mean, we're gonna adopt one that comes from one of these other cities, and we make that work, and if you want, in your design manual, if you want any of that stuff in there, we'll put it in there, and then if we find out that Energy is the one that owns these poles that are halfway cut off, you start finding them. Cause they're gonna figure it out once they start getting a bill.
Right.
Well, my point is, we have a list going around, and
Yeah.
now, based on the list we had, that we sent to Energy, and we got any response back from that letter?
No, not any.
There wasn't an invoice attached.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we, I don't know what a reasonable amount of time to come up with a design manual. Could we do it before the next meeting?
I don't know. I mean, just ask me to
Yeah,
start
I'll
working
make a
on it.
motion that we start working on a design manual for the utility poles.
And the
Well,
right
these
of way
poles-
maintenance.
And the right of way maintenance.
These poles have been out for over 4 years, okay? I got pictures, I got dates, I can document everything I'm telling you. Been over 4 years.
But we need a mechanism to start finding them. Because right now, we don't have any way to enforce it, so we have to create the way to enforce the rules, and then we have to create the rules.
Roger, have y'all went out and completed all the streets?
Basically,
Because
that
that one of y'all got is, don't have all of them on it, cause even with that list I got from you, I still didn't count another 75.
That's the most that I've seen, with the list I gave you, I'm not sure what.
No, I'm counting 75 more on top of that list.
Anybody got a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion on it? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay. Item 8, discussion and possible action to rezone the first 300 feet of highway frontage of Highway 418 West on the south side, beginning at Old Highway 418 and ending at the city limits, then North 418 West, beginning at the Hayes Road and ending at the city limits. And Councilman Paul Davis, can you tell us about this?
Absolutely. So you've got Highway 418, and it's really weird. If you look at the zoning map, did Brooke just run to get the zoning map?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So it's like, it's zone commercial, and then it's not. And then it's zone commercial again. And it just doesn't make any sense. And typically, on these highways, we have where you could use the first 300 feet for commercial. And it doesn't make any sense. And we say we want better for the city, but we're not allowing people to expand things in places where you would typically have expansion. And it's because it's not zoned for it.
Now, going down 418, where are you saying this commercial?
About to bring the map in here. If you go, before you get to the end of the city limits, if I'm not, I don't want to misspeak.
It's the same place you brought up about 2 years ago, where old 418 meets 418, that's
Okay.
the city limits.
All right, but what I'm saying, from the Wildlife Faith Center, on that road, how far down is commercial?
On the south side of the road,
It's
It's-
not at all on the north side.
it's commercial down to that building now.
Okay,
That building is commercial.
that's commercial all the way down on that side,
Yeah.
and that's where we stop. And on the north side, you said it's not at all.
I think that's right.
That's not correct. Look. This is not correct. Your city limits goes all the way out to right here. This is the borderline of your city limits. This is 418. This is the south side. This is the north side. This is all LP and stuff, which is not inside the city limits. Your city limits line goes down right here. So that's the reason you didn't take this side of the highway.
Where's the Wildlife Faith Center?
Back up here.
Way up here, you got a specific use permit on it, right here. Okay,
Okay, what about the first building, furnishing?
well, it was
No, he already
Uh,
did the green. No, he didn't.
light industrial at one time. I don't know what was there before it was furnished. Okay, but you never, the city limits is not on this side of the road. That's why you don't have it like 327 or the main drag or anything, you don't have both sides.
You send us.
This is LP, they're not inside the city limits, see your city limits line goes right here.
Yeah, but we,
And then you annexed this part right here. So, you couldn't have changed this to C2. So, maybe the city should have picked up right here and went on down, you know, cause it's a state highway of C2, but the city never did for whatever reason. You got 300 feet on this side, but this is not the end of the city limits. It didn't even extend. Your city limits goes all the way up 418 to right here. So this stops at your building,
You're right.
and it was up here.
Oh, okay.
And I think you came to them
I did.
several years ago before you got on the council and got them to extend it right here.
Cause I was
But
thinking
they
about
didn't
moving
jump
the deal.
over the other side of the road and go up or finish right here. And I think that's what's on
Yeah,
the
I'm
agenda for the
wanting to run.
option of starting at Hayes Road, because this is not the city limits. Coming up this side 300 feet and this side. But then you're gonna run into the same thing that you said. If you do 300 feet, some of the back parts of the property won't be in C2.
well, now, my question, I guess my question is trying to make sure that we did something like that, we're not spot zoning.
Well, spot zoning is if you jump out right here and say, I'm gonna put a C2. And the law says you can't do that, but it can be adjacent to or connected to. Like if these people wanted to rezone to
Yeah, I
mobile home
understand that.
or that, they could.
I understand that.
Well, you're connecting adjacent to, across the highway counts, and then you tie on from right here and you go on up. But in this case, you don't, you'd have to say adjacent to right here. And this is just continuing on. Then it's not
Now,
considered.
the last
spot zoning.
time we was trying to do that, Danny, there were some people that was having an issue with us going down 418.
Yeah, they didn't want you to.
Right.
Whenever you did yours, there was a lot of people
Yeah, there was a
against
lot
it.
of people that
Look,
were against
it
it.
could be.
Because what you have here, if you go look, and I drove it, you have a lot of houses, and they own this property all the way out to the road.
And they'll have the ability to put a business there if they want
Well,
to.
I know, but when some of them built their house, it was with the understanding that it was a residential area they built it into at the time.
Now, you know, and it was my understanding that we went around town and we supposed to be taking in 300 feet of everywhere on old 96, 96, everywhere we went around town, 300 feet, but everybody decided to sit limit. Whatever happened to that, I don't know.
But that was my understanding too, and that's why when it got brought up, I'm getting phone calls and messages, and I'm like, well, yeah, that should be, you know, I'm just assuming, and then I went and looked at the zoning map, and I'm like, this didn't jive with what we've all been saying. And
We had a meeting, I mean, we started on 96. We started on 96, going out by where that store and, Acadian Ambulance Service, coming all the way down by the dealership, down by Walmart. I mean, all that was taken in. And we went all the way around town doing that.
Right.
Now, where's the paperwork at on it? I can't tell you.
You talking
What
about
we
the
did.
dealership behind Cowboy Autoplex?
Yeah, all that, all that.
They're not in the city limits.
Do what?
They're not inside the
Everybody
city.
needs to check it.
They're not.
The first 300 feet is,
Well, but they're behind that.
no, the first 300 feet was inside the city.
I know, but if you turn down that road,
If you turn down
that
between that road and the city.
studio and that place that David Anderson owned is
Oh.
past that 300 feet.
No,
They're not.
I'm not, no, I know
Oh,
that.
you're not talking about that?
No, I'm talking about Cowboy Overflex.
Oh,
The
yes.
big dealerships inside the city.
Well, they voluntary annexed.
I know.
Yeah, you're right. First 300 feet.
I forget some things, but I don't forget all things.
I think their whole piece is, and that would be this right here. This is Walmart's, and this is Cowboy Autoplex right here.
Oh, there it is, that's what we did, that's it.
Uh,
That's what got me, I mean.
See,
and-
that's more than 300 feet,
and I'm-
because they
and I'm looking at
voluntary out here annexed both pieces of their property.
See, and I'm looking at, and we supposed to went down 418, all the way out to Big Jim's Barbecue. Are y'all familiar with Big Jim's?
I remember you saying that.
Okay, when Big Jim's Barbecue on 418,
That's at the city limit.
That's it, so-
that was a stopping point on where we supposed to went down 418 then.
That's,
Where's the paperwork at, I can't tell you.
I'll make a motion that we rezone the first 300 feet of the highway frontage of Highway 418 west, on the south side, beginning at Old Highway 418 and ending at the city limits line, then North 418 west, beginning at Hayes Road, ending at
So
city limits.
you got more checking before we just do that.
Yeah, and
Lot of
there's more of a process than
Yeah.
I
that.
understand, but without a motion, you can't start the process, right?
No, we can't prove that. We'll get in
To
trouble.
have
We'll get in
public
trouble.
hearing, invite all the
Yeah.
people.
You have to have a public hearing, you have to have, you bring it before, even though it's a council-initiated change, it still has to go before the zoning board of adjustment. They will make a recommendation whether or not to do it, and then the council then has the option to listen to the recommendation or not. But what you start with, what is then basically asking you to start the process.
Okay.
Yeah, start the rezoning process for them. And now, it's going to, part of the process is she's gonna have to send notice to every landowner along there. And,
Like, yeah, within 200 feet of the property that we're
rezoning.
rezoning,
Yeah.
right?
So,
Does
so
that
your
need to be a
motion,
motion?
your motion is to zone the first 300 feet or the entire piece of property within 300 feet of the road?
That, I would just say the first 300 feet, because if they own a piece of property that goes 600 feet in, they can request to have the rest of their property rezoned if need be. I'm not trying to take somebody's plot of property that runs a half mile deep and, oh, now it's commercial, So let's start that process.
You make a motion to start.
I make a motion that we start the process for the rezoning of, Highway
First 300
418 running west, north and south.
First 300 feet.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're gonna start the process before we have the public hearing?
Well, that's
You
just
gotta
part of
start
the
the
process.
process like that too.
And the public hearing will be part of it.
And did I hear you say zoning board adjustment?
I'll second that, start the process.
All righty.
He said.
Is there any- what?
That's what pisses people off, they get.
That's the whole point, is for us to start the process so we can hear from the public.
It may not turn out to be something that you wanna do, actually.
Planning commission.
Good landowners on 418,
Does anybody wanna-
and don't wanna do it, and, okay.
Yeah.
So we got a
We hear
motion
you.
and a second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on it?
Who seconded it?
I did.
Kurt.
I will say that whenever that property that I had was already commercial in the past. And when I asked to do that, I was gonna move the B office down there, and, the one guy across the street really was opposed to it. He was afraid I'd put a strip joint in there. And so consequently, I've had a lot of people come and ask me if they could rent that property, and I had one purpose for doing it, and I never have rented it out. Okay? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Now, I'm making my motion just to get to the public hearing part of it. Okay?
Yeah, that's part of it. We
Because
have to do that.
well, let's make sure I'm on record with it, cause I don't want people thinking that we're jumping the gun.
They gonna think it.
Well, I understand that. That's why I'm gonna make my quote on the way I feel.
Well, but for that public hearing, I have to notify everybody within 200 feet
Yes,
of what the intentions are.
right,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
And I'm trying to make I'm voting for it just to make sure I bring it to the people for the public.
That's what we're all doing.
I'm not trying to make sure I'm saying I'm 100% in yet.
No, that's
I'm
what
for
we're all
the
doing.
public hearing. Unless we find out the paperwork showing us where we and then already annexed it.
Item 9. Discussion and possible action on approving quote for Knuckle Park Walking Trail, City Manager.
Okay, I think, Roger, you wanna got this information? Okay. You wanna go over it for him, or with him?
3 quotes, redoing the walking trail at Knippel Park. KMS, one way they would do it is totally tear it all up and redo it. They're $174,000, so we don't scratch that one. Other 2 quotes that we got, from C&M Construction. They're the one who does all our overlays, most of our streets. They come in at just overlaying what we have right now off, asphalt trail out there, come in at $63,000. Riverworks is a local company that will come in and make the trail more like a basketball surface or tennis surface, have a rubber coating on it, so you got more traction when you're walking on it. They came in at $65,000.
How long does that last?
Now, C&M is the one that did they the one done the walk trail out there?
No, at the trails, Knippel?
Yeah.
City of Silsbee did it 30-something years ago. They have never done anything else. They did the parking lot.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
the parking.
I'll tell you, I'm familiar with this Rubberworks, the product. I was gonna have my countertops in my workshop, whatever you call it, have that stuff applied to it, put on it, right? I was very impressed with it. Couldn't afford it at the time, but, and then I called and got a quote to put it around my pool, and I asked that life expectancy, and it's a 20-year life expectancy.
Really?
Yeah, and that's with a bunch of direct sunlight, pool chemicals and all that stuff. Out there with as much shade as in those areas, it would last longer, and there's also a bunch of different, like, color options that you can go with. I like the product.
Yeah, I think.
Are they gonna do some patching underneath where you got worn
Oh,
places
yeah,
and
they
all
want
that?
to redo the surface and everything before he does it.
But not just sprayed over the surface of the,
You got big roots, got root problems, everything on it right now.
Yeah,
The only question is, in Rubberworks, and Deanne says we don't do business this way, he wants to get 70% down before he does the product.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we've never, and then he wants, 70% up front before he ever starts, and then he wants the remaining balance as soon as he finishes. So that means y'all won't be approving even the payment for the second payment, and we've never let vendors get paid. before we get the
That's
product.
Dylan, is that Dylan? I guess
Yeah.
Dylan
Walker, yeah.
Yeah, he's, a while ago he said local, and a couple of them probably know this guy. I don't know, man. I understand it because I have a small business, and if y'all awarded me a $70,000 job, yeah, I would probably need to pay it up front, or half of it up front too, you know, or 70% of the lot, but, yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow for a little guy.
But y'all got a policy in place.
No, I understand, I'm not
You know,
saying
how
do
we
it,
pay our
I'm not saying
bills.
do it, I'm just, this all makes sense.
understand it.
Yeah, I understand. Love to be able to give it to him, but
So what,
don't know if we're able to. Is there a way around that?
Work with him to purchase, if the city purchased the materials
have it delivered?
and then he would just have to, he wouldn't be able to get paid, he could probably get progress payments on his work, but I mean, I don't think his work's gonna take all that long, is it? How long would it take for him to do it? The same way we do progress.
I'll make a motion.
Contractors.
I'll make a motion to approve C&M on the bid they got in.
He doesn't say how long, he didn't give how many days.
I think it would be worth talking to him to make sure that he's okay with it, because that would, I mean, Deanne's concerned about the progress payments through our current AP system. So, you're saying it would have to be.
Well, when Keena does, when you're talking about progress payments for grants as they do the work, we have 40 checking accounts for the city. 40 different checking accounts. Through the grant department, through administration, those are processed by checks that we write ourselves. Through your AP system, it's locked in to council's approval by minutes, which is first of the month, which is flags, water, gas, anything that's gonna get turned off that causes you a problem. Anything else is unauthorized. And then the third of the month AP, which goes to the council.
Then it'd be a coordination conversation with him to to do the material, buy the material under a separate PO,
Yeah.
have it delivered to the city site. You have a conversation with him saying, don't start on the 4th day of the month, because you're not gonna get paid till the 3rd day of the next month. If you wanna come in here on the
Yeah,
27th and you got 3 days worth of work, there's no, we're gonna have to get you approved. Somebody gotta sign off on his work before that.
You could pre-authorize the payment, as long as Roger signed off on it, and then,
But she just wouldn't write a check until that.
I would like to go with Rubber Works.
I-
I've seen it.
Well,
He made a motion.
I made a motion,
Go
I
ahead.
like to make a motion.
Yeah, you got a motion.
Yeah.
The motion I made to go with CNM, a guy we used to doing business with, is bid, it's the lowest bid we got here, and the man do excellent work. That's my motion.
What's the price you have on yours up there? On yours?
61,000.
Well,
61,
it's
should be
63.
63.
Somebody said 63.
It's
Yeah, but it's still-
$2,000 difference
Yeah.
for 21 years worth of,
But yeah, it's kind of a
Guaranteed.
different quote.
yeah.
How come mine says 61?
It's 63, I got a new quote, came in last week. Came in on the 15th.
And the rubber works is how much?
Because oil prices have gone up,
65.
asphalt's gone up, so.
Okay, Roger, we have to get a second for that, but I wanted to see what you recommended.
I recommend Rubber Works. I think it'd be, is because we have a lot of people that's falling out there, and a lot of them fall because of the roots and stuff, I understand that, but it's got more of a traction to it for somebody who's walking on it.
A little more
Yeah,
forgiving
for
too when you did
knees,
it.
all around.
That was a big point when I was thinking about it around my pool, because somebody slips and falls, they're not just landing on concrete.
Yeah.
It has to feel forgiving.
Anything else you want to say about it?
One thing, like you said, is the 70% deposit and all that, that's what we need to work with.
Okay. Okay, now we have a motion here. Do we have a second on that motion?
Which is the cheapest?
CNM was the lowest bid, we
About
just.
$2,000, yeah. Going asphalt gonna cost you $2,000 less, and going with a rubber coated surface like on tennis court or basketball court, $6,500, $65.
Dan, what you recommend? What budget?
You get more bang for your buck on this one, I agree, but it's just, like you said, unless y'all change y'all's pay policy, I don't know how we could cut the man a check.
And plus,
'Cause it's
CNM done
not
a lot of
right
work,
now.
he done a lot of work for us. I mean, he done all these basketball
second.
courts.
So you're seconded Thomas's
Mhm.
motion? Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on it?
Yeah, I mean, you want to take discussion right now?
I'll take it, yeah.
This product, the Rubber Works product that I've seen is 1,000% better than just going on asphalt. I thought it would be, when I saw that little logo and I was, oh, that looks like Rubber Works. I thought it would be a lot more expensive to do versus the asphalt. And if it's that small of a difference, then I think I would rather us pursue, working with, Mr. Walker and seeing, hey, look, if the city buys the materials, submit the PO for that, have it delivered to the city, have it delivered here. And then we work out payment, whatever works with how we're set up. Because, that's just, and it looks, the stuff is good looking. We get to pick pick the color of the material that he uses. With asphalt, you just don't get that.
Any other discussion on it? All right. I know it'd be nice to walk on that rubber stuff if it's anything like a track at the high school, but we have a motion, and the motion is to do the asphalt. So let's go ahead and vote on that. All in favor of CMM,
great.
Yeah, but I really would like to at least find out about the rubber stuff. I mean, I don't know that we want to necessarily go with it, but if you ever walked around a track, these old people like myself, they like walking on that as opposed to walking on asphalt. There's a world of difference.
It's a lot easier on your joints.
But,
It's easier on your joints.
Yeah.
It's easier after you start worrying about stuff.
so I'm gonna vote nay, so we can at least research and find out if, this guy may not be interested in letting us buy the stuff and doing it. He may not have any interest in doing that. And we need to make sure about the life of it, because most of these tracks are only good for like 10 years. Is that right? I think that's right.
I don't know about track.
So somebody's got to make a motion to vote?
Well, he
or
never,
do it now?
he never.
Oh, I thought he said nay.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
He did, he said nay.
I'm gonna vote nay, and then we have to see how we're gonna approach it, you
Yeah,
know?
well, I'll make a
I make a
motion.
motion to table this until we figure out if he's gonna be able to do 70% or figure all that out or not.
Pay for it.
Yeah, let's,
Pay for it.
How about,
is that the right way to do it, to table it? or just-
how about I motion that we amend Kurt's motion to move to the Rubbermaid, and as long as he can accept the city's payment terms.
I second that.
Yes. Agreed.
Just give one of it.
Sorry, Thomas, you ain't going out there to walk nowhere.
That's okay.
It really is
You
not.
ain't even one.
Okay. Any other, okay, we got a motion and a second, is there any discussion on it?
Who seconded it?
So,
I got Bruce
amended
made
it.
the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and then I seconded it.
Okay.
So, you know that your quote says it's gonna be maroon, right?
It better be.
Yeah.
It better be.
I'm okay with that.
Just as long as you know, I don't want that to be a surprise to you.
Yeah, we're good with that.
All right,
Just get one.
is there any other discussion on it? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we got, you're an aye? Okay, 5 ayes and 1 nay.
Just get one. If he get paid, if he agree, we agree. If he don't, we go right.
Yeah.
As long as he can make it work.
Okay, yeah, if you can make it
We
work, I
make
mean,
the money
may
work,
not
we'll
be
go
able to.
that route. We can't, then we go back to that.
Okay, 10, discussion and possible action on utilizing funds from the general fund reserve for contingencies for invoice number 4542 in the amount of $1,662.30 to Networking Plus for camera system at the animal shelter. City manager?
Well, we didn't
I
budget.
make a motion, we approve it,
Okay.
Second.
and we don't need discussion on it.
Who
I make a
seconded
motion,
it?
approve it.
I did.
Bruce.
Okay, there's no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Item 11, update on online bill pay / credit card payment. View city bill on website, city manager.
Right, I think, Paul,
Yeah, that was
maybe you
me.
headed us. The credit card people had, I think we'd started this a while back, and I think that DJ guy transferred or didn't work there anymore, dropped the ball, so they got somebody else on top of it. And they
No.
said, what, couple weeks out, they'll be finished?
Should be, we signed a contract with them last week. On all of it.
Well, the second one, we already had one the first time.
Hang on, is this so it can automatically just happen?
People can automatically have it drafted out of their checking account. They can use their credit card to pay for deposits, water taps, permits,
Will it email their
anything.
bill out?
Yes. Will it email their bill out? No.
Yeah.
No, council requested electronic to be able to have it drafted out of their checking account for people to pull up their whole water bill online and
Get
look
their,
at it.
to get their bill to their email. Have the option.
Well, that wasn't what council requested.
I mean, you could,
when that
let's
was
just
set
go on
up.
paperless.
We can ask them to do that.
But I'm pretty sure that's, I mean, it's 2026, guys.
Yeah, we need to do that.
the-
$2,072, how much for 8 packs of water bills?
So
Yeah, that's
we
what you're
can't,
talking
we can't make paperless billing mandatory.
No, I know that.
Right.
Yeah,
You leave them the option.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
have
the
an
option for sure, yeah, you can do that.
I know we can cut that bill in half.
Okay, so the option of,
Also, we got,
electronic billing.
Half the time, I don't get
We
my
got a
bill
program
until after they
downloaded.
was due anyways.
Okay.
It's work order for 14.
So-
That one may take a little longer because we're just now doing that one, but the other three,
No action required on this then.
no, we was just giving y'all an update on it because a council member had asked me where we're at with it.
Item 11, discussion about items not on the agenda specifically limited to proposals that are subject to be placed on the agenda for a subsequent meeting.
Yes. We, God, this was a long time ago, Sue Barb was up here too. I think that was the last time we did evaluations. We need to do evaluations. Like, we said we were gonna do them regular, and then we had a lot of new people come, I say a lot of new, anyway, we had some faces change around here, and we need to do our evaluation.
In fact, ain't no such thing as we need to do it. The rules say you must do it every year.
Well, then we have broken the rules,
That's right.
so let's go fix that. So, this is a recommendation is that, all of us have to write evaluations for all our employees and, bring them to the next meeting, or we'll schedule a time to go over eval.
Well, I've been on this council for 3 years, and we've never done it, so some of you guys that
I said we dropped the
got
ball.
experience, we need you to explain to us how it works.
Do we have there was a form last time, a kind of standardized form that made it really simple. And if, yeah, you just email that over, we can all print it up and do it, or maybe we'll have one delivered to you. I know, you don't email,
And what's the process for once you fill them out? What we're gonna do with
you
them?
fill it out, you hang on to it, and then we bring it to the meeting, and we go around the table and we go over each one.
Not go to executive session,
Yes, yes, not an open meeting.
Okay?
not unless they request an open meeting.
And who are we evaluating? Is there a list we're gonna?
City manager, city attorney, and city judge.
Okay. All right. If we're supposed to do it every year, we need to get on with it.
Y'all behind time.
Yep. Cause I'm worried about it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Are you going into executive?
Hey, you guys, I went to a meeting today. You guys, I'm just gonna give you a copy of these. You can pass them out here if you want to. This thing here. Yeah, give me the professor.
Thanks, Slick.
Do you want to clarify the question of what's the second reading, just to be safe?
And I'm glad I went to that meeting because if I hadn't gone,
I mean, I'm not reading it. I don't want you to look bad. Because I know what he said. That's what I heard, but then they put something different on that push out.
No, because he read it.
Okay.
He read my message.
The deal went to the Public Works, and they're gonna, the ordinance he modified, they have to do a second reading on it.
I'm trying
Literally. Are y'all done?
Yeah, we're done now.
Okay.
to. Alright, do you have 2 minutes? You have 2 minutes to talk about it.
And then we get one of them. Keep it burned up.
This little lady got up talking about it, strong.
Guess you get the mayor.
Yeah,
He's well.
Yeah, that's what
Told me earlier,
Well,
he
she
would talk
talked
to me.
about her, like, she's living over off 7th Street.
He told you he would?
Yeah. But now he said he was going to.
One right around